Chapter 1881. Lin Xian also snorted. What the hell is this? Come out. Buzz. A golden figure appeared in front of them. It was like a small house, emitting a cold metallic luster. Golden Divine Ant, the dark red divine dragon, was shocked. It didn't expect to see such a mutated species here. Kid, be careful. This Golden Divine Ant is extremely strong and difficult to deal with. Don't get hurt by it. Lin Xian nodded. He knew that the ant race was a terrifying race. Ordinary ants could lift things that were more than 10 times heavier than them. Not to mention this kind of mutated Golden Divine Ant. One could only imagine how powerful that power was. The Golden Divine Ant emitted a powerful aura and blocked the way. It seemed like it didn't want Lin Xian and the rest to advance. Get out of the way and I won't kill you. Otherwise, don't blame me for being merciless. Lin Xian said coldly. He was only here to look for treasures. He didn't want to fight with these monster kings. However, the Golden Divine Ant didn't appreciate it. It roared and waved its 2 huge tentacles. They were like 2 golden heavenly blades that slashed forward. The golden light shone brightly and instantly enveloped Lin Xian and the rest. Whoosh! Lin Xian and the other 2 dodged the attack with a flicker. The space they were originally standing in had been split in half. A dark crack appeared on the ground. It was so deep that one couldn't see the bottom. Lowly humans, this isn't a place where you can come. Get out of my way. The Golden Divine Ant's consciousness appeared in the air and clashed with each other to warn them. However, Lin Xian snorted. You're just a monster king. How dare you be so arrogant and block my way? Since that's the case, don't blame me for being rude. Lin Xian snorted. Then, a powerful sword aura exploded from his body and swept out in all directions. Then Lin Xian pulled out the 9 darkness demonic sword. Shocking murderous aura shot into the sky. The sword slashed down with the weight of a mountain. Roar! The Golden Divine Ant let out a furious roar. It didn't expect that these 3 lowly humans would dare to attack it. They were truly courting death. In the next moment, the golden body trembled, and a golden domain appeared and enveloped him. Then, the dazzling golden light slammed forward like a wave. Boom! The golden waves crashed into the early stages of the demonic path, causing a huge collision. One had to admit that the Golden Divine Ant was indeed powerful. It was actually able to block Lin Xian's attack. However, at this moment the dark red divine dragon and Lu Mingyue also made their moves. Lu Mingyue's jade-like hand held a green willow leaf saber and waved it quickly. Saber lights flew out like green light, slashing through the void and blasting forward. The dark red divine dragon waved its dragon claws, and a large patch of red light formed a terrifying dragon claw that descended from the sky. The 3 experts fought fiercely against the Golden Divine Ant, causing the heavens and earth to explode. The Golden Divine Ant's golden domain was trembling and dimming. However, the Golden Divine Ant was enraged. As a unique beast of heaven and earth, it was incomparably terrifying and possessed boundless strength. Its golden tentacles swept out in all directions. Boom! 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 All the attacks were swept away by the golden tentacles. The Golden Divine Ant was able to unleash strength that was more than 10 times stronger than itself. It was indeed terrifying. Perhaps even a saint would have to retreat in the face of such a demonic beast. However, Lin Xian snorted coldly. He had decided to kill the other party. The great dragon sword soul in his body surged, and the sword light on his body became even sharper. Terrifying sword chi intertwined, forming sword runes that seemed to pierce through the sky. The dark red divine dragon activated the 1,000 Beasts Cauldron, and at the same time, it let out a dragon roar that reverberated in all directions. Buzz! A divine dragon's aura surged out, and the Golden Divine Ant was indeed affected. Although it was powerful as a unique beast of heaven and earth, the dark red divine dragon was a dragon. In addition, the 1,000 Beasts Cauldron was restraining it, so its combat strength was affected. Boom! At this moment, Lin Xian waved his demonic sword, and a terrifying sword light slashed toward the other party. The sword chi intertwined, forming a black fire qilin that collided with the Golden Divine Ant, tearing at each other. Primal Chaos Indestructible Palm! Lu Mingyue shouted, and the chaotic aura in her body exploded, forming a dazzling palm that grabbed forward. The chaotic aura pierced through the void, and with an indestructible will, it slammed into the golden divine ant instantly. The ground trembled, and the golden divine ant kept retreating. Roar! The golden divine ant was surrounded by 3 experts, and it kept retreating. Especially that terrifying sword light, which left a sword mark on its body, and almost split it in half. It couldn't bear it. Therefore, in the next moment, its golden eyes shone brightly, and a terrifying demonic aura surged out, connecting heaven and earth. A golden domain descended from the sky, enveloping Lin Xian and the other 2. The golden light shone like the sun, emitting a terrifying demonic aura in the sky. It seemed like the golden divine ant wanted to completely refine Lin Xian and the other 2. Boom! Lin Xian snorted. Instead of retreating, he advanced. The dragon sword spiritual domain surged out of his body, turning into a green dragon that charged into the clouds. At the same time, he executed the Armageddon Black Dragon Fist. Countless black dragon shadows dashed forward in the sky. The entire forest was trembling, as if it was about to split open. Clang! 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 The dragon sword spiritual domain collided with the golden domain, and the sound of metal colliding could be heard. Lin Xian roared, and the spiritual energy in his body surged, blocking the endless golden domain. His body was bathed in sword light, and he flew into the sky against the immense pressure. The 9 darkness demonic sword seemed to have a spirit, and its power was 10 times stronger than before. The dragon sword soul in his body roared, and it unleashed a powerful force. Boom! A sword chi that was hundreds of feet long streaked across the sky, emitting an eternal light, and shattered the golden aura. At the same time, the dark red divine dragon and the others were also fighting back. What golden domain? Let me destroy you. Today, I will let you know my power. The dark red divine dragon roared, and his dragon claws flew in all directions, blocking the golden domain. His dragon claws grabbed the 10,000 beast cauldron, and a terrifying light soared into the sky. Numerous demonic beast shadows appeared, and they streaked across the sky, charging toward the golden domain that was slowly descending from the sky. Boom! The 2 collided, and it was as if thousands of divine mountains were pressing down, making it difficult for people to breathe. Chaotic storm! Lu Mingyue also shouted, and then a chaotic light flew out from her hand, turning into countless lightning bolts, shattering countless golden aura waves. Boundless power was rampant, and monstrous killing intent was stirred up. It was as if heaven and earth no longer existed. A large area of the void cracked open, and demonic beasts roared in the distance. Countless forests were directly destroyed. The void, tens of thousands of feet wide, became a terrifying killing ground. Other than Lin Xian and the others, no other living beings dared to approach. Waves of air surged, and violent energy stirred up the forest. Chapter 1882. Lin Xian and the other 2 snorted coldly. Their expressions were extremely solemn. However, the golden divine ant wasn't having a good time either. Even though it was a mutated species, it was still injured after being attacked by 3 experts. Its golden territory was completely broken, and its body was severely injured. Terrifying palm prints and sword marks appeared on its body. Anger! The golden divine ant was completely enraged. It had never been so severely injured before. Previously, it didn't take the other party seriously at all because 2 humans and a snake were no threat to it at all. But now it realized that it was completely wrong. The snake could emit the aura of a dragon, and the young man was even fiercer. It was terrified. It wasn't a foolish beast, but a monster king with intelligence. Naturally, it knew that such a person was also an extremely powerful existence among humans. However, it didn't leave because it was guarding something. A spiritual medicine of heaven and earth that was about to mature. If it ate that thing, it would benefit greatly. Therefore, it wouldn't leave even though it was in danger now. Damn humans. If you want to enter the depths of the forest, I won't stop you. But you have to go through another place. You can't pass through here. Humph. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Do you really think you're invincible? You can't defeat the 3 of us at all. Moreover, I'm guessing that you have a treasure behind you. Otherwise, you would have run away long ago. You're courting death. "I'll fight it out with you," the golden divine ant roared. It didn't expect the humans to be so cunning. They instantly guessed that it had a treasure behind it. In the next moment, the golden divine ant's body shone with a golden light, as it summoned the golden territory again. Furthermore, its golden body was also growing larger and larger. Like a golden mountain, it was rapidly charging toward them. Another earth-shattering battle broke out. In the end, Lin Xian had no choice but to send out the Dragon Soul Sword Shadow. A shocking sword radiance shone and slashed forward. Poof! This sword radiance was more powerful than all the previous ones. It could even threaten a mighty figure. No matter how strong the golden divine ant was, it couldn't resist it, and was finally split into two. Blood splattered everywhere. Its huge golden body split open and landed on the ground, blasting apart countless towering trees. Whoosh! The dark red dragon swayed its tail and flew over. He found a demonic core from the huge golden corpse and swallowed it. Lin Xian didn't waste the blood of the golden divine ant either. This was a variant of the heaven and earth. Its flesh and blood contained powerful energy. If it was consumed and refined, it would be beneficial to one's body. Therefore, the three of them directly attacked here. Lu Mingyue brandished her blade and quickly cut the golden body apart. Lin Xian, on the other hand, used the black flames and the 10,000 beast cauldron as a vessel to start cooking. Soon a rich aroma wafted out. Lin Xian and the other two immediately drank the soup and ate the meat. This was no ordinary meat. It was the flesh of a powerful Yao King. Thus, with just one bite, countless amounts of energy transformed into sparkling lights that danced in the surroundings. On the other hand, Lin Xian and the others also felt their blood and qi roar, as if a volcano had erupted. That powerful energy brought about a boundless impact to them. Hurry and refine it. Lin Xian used the longevity art to absorb the energy. On the other side, the dark red dragon and Lu Mingyue also used their own techniques to refine the energy in their bodies. To them, this was a great opportunity. If they could refine it, they would definitely be able to increase their strength. Just like that, the three of them ate a mouthful of meat and drank a mouthful of soup while refining the energy. Gradually, the spiritual energy in their bodies became more and more abundant. The aroma of the meat naturally attracted the surrounding Yao beasts. For a moment, many figures appeared nearby. However, the dark red snake dragon roared. Coupled with the pressure of the dragon blood in its body, the surroundings were intimidated. The surrounding Yao Kings were so shocked that they quickly fled. The pressure of the dragon blood was a fatal danger to them. They felt a tremor from the depths of their souls. Therefore, they didn't dare to get close. Hey, what a fragrant smell! In the distance, 5 figures stopped. They frowned slightly as they sensed the fragrance in the air. Among the 5 figures, 2 were old men. One was middle-aged, and the other 2 were young men. Their auras were powerful, and their eyes shone brightly. At that moment, one of the old men's eyes suddenly widened as he stared at a certain spot in the distance. There, let's go and take a look. They were also here to look for treasures. Now that they saw the strange fragrance, how could they not be tempted? Therefore, in an instant, the 5 figures turned into lightning and quickly rushed forward. On the other side, Lin Xian and the other 2 were refining the energy in their bodies. Suddenly, Lin Xian opened his eyes. His gaze turned into a sharp sword qi that pierced through the void. "Who's there?" he shouted coldly. It was like thunder exploding in the air. Lin Xian's soul power was extremely powerful. It was already comparable to an almighty. Therefore, when the figures in the distance approached, he felt it. The dark red dragon and Lu Mingyue also opened their eyes and looked into the distance with vigilance. In this full moon forest, there were no rules or morals. Killing people to steal treasures and attacking from behind could be seen everywhere. Therefore, they had to be careful. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. In the distance, 5 phantom-like figures had also arrived in the vicinity in an instant. They floated in the void, and their powerful auras crushed everything. It's not a treasure of heaven and earth. The 5 of them were the 5 experts who came to explore previously. They looked at the scene in front of them and frowned. They originally thought it was a treasure of heaven and earth, but now it seemed that it was not. Someone was barbecuing meat. "Brat, who are you?" One of the young men shouted coldly. His gaze swept across Lin Xian and the other two, then stared at Lu Mingyue. Lu Mingyue was not wearing a mask now. She could be said to be a peerless beauty. At that moment, she looked at the young man in confusion. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He recognized that they were from the Liang family of the North region, from the symbol on their clothes. He did not have a good impression of the Liang family of the North region. Previously, the Liang family went against him, and he even killed the fourth young master of the Liang family. Both parties could be said to be enemies. However, he did not expect to meet them here. However, Lin Xian was not worried. First of all, there were only 5 of them. There was nothing to be afraid of. Moreover, he and Lu Mingyue had hidden their identities that day. Now that they had returned to their original appearances, the other party should not be able to recognize them. What should we do? Do we fight? Lu Mingyue asked through voice transmission. She did not have a good impression of the people in front of her, especially the 2 young men. They kept looking at her with undisguised greed in their eyes. She hated that kind of gaze. Don't panic. We're here to look for treasures. There's no need to fight too much. Just send them away. Of course, if they don't open their eyes, we can only leave them behind. Chapter 1883. How dare you? We are martial artists from the Liang family. The young man retracted his gaze from Lu Mingyue and shouted coldly. The other party did not answer his question, and instead asked him a question. He felt that he was being looked down upon. Therefore, if he revealed his identity now, the other party would definitely be scared witless. Liang family. Lin Xian nodded. Why are you here? Hearing this, the cultivators from the Liang clan all frowned. They originally thought that the other party would be scared. After all, their Liang family was a top force in the North region. However, they did not expect that the other party would still look calm after hearing their identity. This made them feel a little incredulous. Could it be that the other party had something to rely on? In the next moment, the young man's lips curled into a cold smile. Everyone has a share. Since we've met, let's have a share. Kid, you can get lost now. Leave the things in the black cauldron. Also, this beauty is mine. Saying that, he looked at Lu Mingyue, and the light in his eyes became even brighter. Humph! Lu Mingyue snorted coldly, and her expression was extremely cold. A terrifying aura surged from her body. Feeling this aura, the faces of the Liang family martial artists changed. They did not expect the other party to be so powerful. Lin Xian also snorted coldly, and a sharp sword light surrounded his body. He took a step forward and said in a deep voice, I didn't want to provoke you at first, but you actually dared to have ideas about me. Since that's the case, let's fight. You're courting death. The young man from the Liang family was furious. The other party actually dared to threaten him. They really did not know what was good for them. Just as he was about to attack, he was stopped by the old man in front of him. Stop. The fat old man shouted coldly. This is the end of the matter. Don't forget why we're here. Yes, elder. Hearing the fat old man's words, the young man did not dare to resist, and could only give up. However, he still glared fiercely at Lin Xian and the others. Kid, you're lucky this time. Don't let me meet you again, or you'll end up very badly. After speaking, the 5 cultivators no longer paid any attention to Lin Xian and the others. Instead, they turned around and left. Seeing this scene, Lin Xian coldly snorted. Fortunately, the other party did not make a move. Otherwise, he would have let the other party know the consequences of greed. After the people from the Liang clan left, Lin Xian, Lu Mingyue, and Lu Mingyue cultivated for a while before they went on their way. There was still some golden flesh left, but Lin Xian had stored it in the black earth. In any case, they would have plenty of time to cultivate in the future. What they had just absorbed had also improved their cultivation by quite a bit. At this time, the most important thing was to continue moving forward, because they guessed that the golden divine ant was guarding some kind of natural treasure. If they could obtain it, their cultivation would definitely increase greatly. The deeper they went, the more demonic beasts there were. Some poisonous snakes and insects also appeared from time to time. However, in front of the powerful strength of Lin Xian and the other 2, all obstacles were swept away. Sure enough, A mountain stream appeared in front of him. Within the mountain stream, there was a ball of light. Mystical spirit fruit, Lin Xian exclaimed in surprise. As an alchemist, he had a precise grasp of all the spiritual herbs in the world. The thing in front of him was the legendary and precious mystical spirit fruit. What? It's actually the mystical spirit fruit. Hearing Lin Xian's words, Lu Mingyu's eyes burned with passion. As a genius disciple of the sacred land, she had naturally heard of the mystical spirit fruit. This was definitely a natural treasure. It seemed that this trip was not in vain. With this mystical spirit fruit, she would definitely be able to break through her cultivation and become a true holy maiden. Soon Lin Xian and the other two prepared to pick the mystical spirit fruit. However, at this time, the sound of something breaking through the air came from afar. Immediately after, a series of arrogant voices sounded. Haha, I didn't expect to find another natural treasure. This time, it's actually the mystical spirit fruit again. The heavens bless our Liang clan, and let us find countless natural treasures. Voices rang out one after another as 5 figures appeared in the sky. They were none other than the 5 who had encountered Lin Xian's group earlier. The 5 Liang clan elites stared at the mystical spirit fruit in front of them with burning eyes. However, soon, one of the elders frowned and looked to his left. It's you guys again. He did not expect to meet Lin Xian and the others here. Kid, this is not something you can touch. If you know what's good for you, scram. Otherwise, if you anger us, you're dead meat. The young man's face was full of arrogance. He stared at Lu Mingyue with a gleam in his eyes. I've said it before. Don't let me meet you guys again. Otherwise, you'll meet a terrible end. I didn't expect to meet you guys so soon. Looks like the heavens want me to get rid of you. Kid, you were very arrogant before. How dare you scold me? Kneel obediently and wait for your death. I can give you a quick death. Otherwise, I'll let you taste a fate worse than death. And this little beauty beside you, I've enjoyed her. I'm sure you won't have any objections, right? When he finished speaking, he looked at Lin Xian and the others. A fierce aura exploded from his eyes. Below, Lin Xian and the others frowned. They had not expected to meet the Liang clan elite again. Moreover, the other party was so arrogant and seemed to want the mystical spirit fruit as well. The Liang clan is really despicable. They oppose us at every turn. The dark red dragon snorted coldly. Lu Mingyu's expression was also cold. The other party dared to have designs on her. They must have a death wish. Therefore, she asked in a low voice, Lin Xian, are you going to do it? I'll do it myself. As a genius of the Holy Land, Lu Mingyue had her own pride. Apart from being defeated by Lin Xian, she had never been afraid of anyone. At this moment, the Liang clan had repeatedly tried to take advantage of her. Murderous intent had already formed in her heart. Of course we're going to do it. Lin Xian's voice was also cold. Since they've come to die, they can't blame us. Your words are enough. Lu Mingyue nodded. Then, murderous intent surged from her body. A green willow leaf saber appeared in her hand, and she quickly slashed it forward. You actually dare to attack us? You're really courting death. 50-fold from the Liang clan sneered. The 2 elders' expressions were even colder. The 5 of them were all 6-star kings. Moreover, the 2 elders were even elites among 6-star kings. The other party was just 2 young people and a snake. What could they do? They probably could not even stand up to a 6-star king, right? Therefore, the Liang clan did not take them seriously at all. Little beauty, you actually dared to attack me. You have quite a fiery temper. However, I like people like you. The young man sneered and quickly counterattacked. He stretched out a large green hand and grabbed forward. Come, 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 little beauty. Come into this young master's embrace. Following this young master is your great fortune. Chapter 1884. Boom. However, in the next moment, the young man from the Liang family screamed in agony as blood splattered in the air. The green palm was sliced open by the saber, and the spiritual energy in the air surged rapidly. Not only that, but the young man from the Liang family's arm was also sliced off mercilessly. Damn it, how dare you hurt me? I'm going to kill you. The young man from the Liang family held his arm and retreated quickly with a twisted expression. His eyes glowed red as he stared at Lu Mingyue with murderous intent. He did not expect his opponent's saber technique to be so powerful that she could slice off his arm in an instant. Bitch, when I catch you later, I'll let you know what it means to wish you were dead. The young man from the Liang family quickly stopped the bleeding. Then, a long saber appeared in his hand, and he slashed downwards. Lu Mingyue let out a cold snort. Her figure floated like a fairy, and she quickly rushed forward. Seeing that the two of them were about to fight, Lin Xian frowned and quickly reminded her. Mingyue, be careful. His soul power had sensed an extremely unusual fluctuation. Indeed, in the next moment, the entire place began to shake rapidly, as if an earthquake had occurred. Countless shockwaves rolled out, and then a huge monster flew out from the ground at high speed. Boom! Along with it was a terrifying aura, and a black poisonous substance that filled the sky. Whoosh! Lu Mingyue heard Lin Xian's warning, and with her powerful strength, countless rays of chaotic light appeared under her feet, and she quickly retreated into the distance. At the same time, chaotic qi surged from her body and formed a light screen to protect her body. However, the young man from the Liang family was not so lucky. Half of his body was swept by the black mist, and his body caved in immediately. Half of his body was rotten. His protective armor and defensive light were of no use in the face of this black poisonous gas. Ah! The young man from the Liang family screamed in horror. He did not dare to be arrogant, and only wanted to leave as soon as possible. However, in the next moment, the black poisonous gas that filled the sky enveloped his body. Soon, the young man from the Liang family turned into a pool of blood. Seeing this, Lu Mingyue's face turned pale. Fortunately, with Lin Xian's warning and her powerful strength, she managed to avoid the black mist. Otherwise, she would probably end up in a miserable state. When the other 4 Liang family martial practitioners saw this scene, their faces became even more gloomy. In such a short time, their Liang family had already lost an expert. Damn it, what is that thing? Another black-robed young man frowned and looked ahead. The next moment he was stunned. This was because there was a giant purple centipede in front of him. It was at least 1,000 meters long. There were tens of thousands of purple tentacles in the 2 rows, and one head was as big as a house. It opened its bloody mouth and spat out a black mist. His 2 purple eyes were incomparably demonic. This was definitely a powerful and terrifying demon king. The moment the purple centipede appeared, it stared at the mystical spirit fruit. Then it slithered forward. You're courting death. Seeing this scene, the fat elder of the Liang family roared in anger and punched out. The terrifying fist shone brightly and carried a powerful force. It was like thousands of mountains as it blasted forward. However, the black centipede turned its head and spat out black poisonous gas from its bloody mouth. When the terrifying fist landed on the black poisonous gas, it was as if it had entered a swamp, and its speed slowed down. Not only that, but the light on the fist also dimmed and continued to shrink until it finally disappeared into the air. What a terrifying poisonous gas. It can even corrode an attack. The Liang family elder's face darkened. The opponent's strength was beyond their expectations. However, their target was also the mystical spirit fruit, so they would not let the purple centipede succeed. In the next moment, the fat elder said in a low voice, "The 2 of us will stop this beast. The 2 of you will go and pick the mystical spirit fruit." Then, the 2 elders of the Liang family stood side by side in the void. The energy in their bodies surged rapidly. They were like 2 unreachable mountains. The black-robed young man and middle-aged man from the Liang family moved and flew toward the mystical spirit fruit. They are about to make a move. Should we make a move? Lu Mingyue looked at the scene and asked in a low voice. No need. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. Let them make the first move. We only need to strike when the time is right. Lin Xian's lips curled into a cold smile. In front of them, the purple centipede saw that someone was flying toward the mystical spirit fruit, and immediately roared. The thousands of palms danced quickly like a demon. Streaks of black light turned into ribbons and rushed forward. They were like thousands of long spears that pierced through the void. Seeing the black light rushing toward them, the middle-aged man and the black-robed young man's faces changed drastically. Against the black centipede, they did not dare to be careless. Hence, they quickly used their peerless movement skills. In the end, they narrowly avoided most of the attacks. However, the two of them were still hit by some of the black light. They immediately spat out mouthfuls of blood, as if they had been struck by lightning. Although they were injured, they were not in mortal danger. They could still pick the mystical spirit fruit. When the two Liang family elders saw this scene, they roared in anger. "Beast, you are courting death. Your opponent is us." In the next moment, the two elders attacked together. The fat elder waved his arm. Immediately, a large red palm appeared in the sky. It covered the sky and the sun and grabbed downward like a burning cloud. The other elder brandished a blue whip, which transformed into a water dragon, surging and roaring. It trapped the purple centipede. The two men and the beast fought fiercely. They were in a stalemate for a while. On the other side, the black-robed young man and the middle-aged man had picked 5 mystical spirit fruits. Both of them were overjoyed and quickly retreated. As they flew, they shouted, "Elder, we got it! We got it!" Seeing this scene, the two Liang family elders were also overjoyed. They quickly said, "Leave quickly. We will hold this beast back." They had to hold the purple centipede back, because when the purple centipede saw that the mystical spirit fruits were taken, it roared in anger. The demonic aura on its body became even more terrifying. However, in the next moment something strange happened. A green domain appeared in the distance, and instantly enveloped the black-robed young man and the middle-aged man. "Damn it! Who dares to attack the Liang family?" Seeing this scene, the two Liang family elders were so angry that they spat out blood. They were originally overjoyed, because they had obtained the precious mystical spirit fruit. It would allow the Liang family to produce another powerful cultivator. However, they did not expect that this joy would not last for long. Someone had attacked them. Although killing and robbing were common occurrences, they had always been the ones to make a move on others. No one had ever dared to attack the Liang family. Chapter 1885. But now, someone actually dared to snatch the treasure that the Liang family had set their eyes on. ***, who is it? The elders of the Liang family fought against the purple centipede, while using their soul power to check the situation behind them. Then the two of them were stunned. "Kid, it's you." They did not expect that the one who attacked them was a youth that they had overlooked. That's right, it was Lin Xian who attacked them. Seeing that the Liang family had attacked, Lin Xian quietly followed them and used the dragon sword territory at the right time to cover the two of them. Then, the two of them fought back fiercely. But how could they be a match for Lin Xian? So the two of them were killed very quickly. The 5 mystical spiritual fruits were crystal clear and emitted a fragrance that floated in the dragon sword territory. Then Lin Xian kept them. In the next moment he laughed loudly. "Thank you for your help this time, Liang family. We'll meet again." He was indeed very happy. This time, he had obtained the 5 mystical spiritual fruits without any effort. It was a great thing. With that, he waved his hand and flew into the sky with the dark red dragon and Lu Mingyue. ***, kid, no matter where you run to, it'll catch you back. It'll pull out your tendons, skin you alive, and tear you to pieces. The two elders of the Liang family roared crazily. In the next moment, they struck out with their palms that could topple mountains and overturn seas, rushing forward. Boom! An earth-shattering explosion sounded. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the two elders moved away from the purple centipede and began to chase after Lin Xian. They swore that they would catch him and let him know the feeling of living a life worse than death, and take back the mystical spiritual fruits. "They're chasing us. Should we solve the problem?" In front, Lu Mingyue frowned slightly. "No need." Lin Xian shook his head. "Let them chase. With their speed, they can't catch up to us." In the next moment, Lin Xian's dragon sword territory rushed out from his body and enveloped Lu Mingyue and the dark red dragon. Then, he turned into an azure dragon and disappeared into the sky. ***, the two elders of the Liang family stopped in midair and roared crazily, because they realized that they had lost track of him. The other party's speed was simply too fast. Even if the two of them chased with all their might, they still couldn't catch up. Damned brat, no matter where you run to, I will catch you. I will let you know the consequences of offending the Liang family. Angry roars resounded throughout the forest, scaring the surrounding demonic beasts into fleeing. However, none of this had anything to do with Lin Xian. The harvest this time was really too bountiful. In addition to the 5 mystical spirit fruits, Lin Xian also found other natural treasures in the storage rings of the middle-aged man from the Liang clan, and the black-clothed youth. A water lingji, a violet sunflower, and half of a branch from the heavenly incense divine tree. These were all precious treasures of heaven and earth, enough for them to consume for some time. Therefore they directly left the full moon forest. After arriving at a safe place, Lin Xian set up a formation, and the few of them entered the black earth. They did not directly consume these heavenly treasures. Instead, they let Lin Xian refine the elixirs. Then they swallowed the elixirs. This way, they could maximize the use of these heavenly treasures. Lin Xian went into seclusion and began refining the elixirs. On the other side, in the southern region of the eastern wasteland, the All Beginnings Holy Land. In the All Beginnings Holy Land, the All Beginnings Holy Daughter was dressed in a beautiful robe. She was extremely beautiful, but her beautiful face was abnormally cold at this moment. This time she had gathered 100 experts. However, she did not set off. Instead, she waited quietly. Whoosh, whoosh. Not long after, the sky suddenly fluctuated. Then 2 streams of light flew over from afar. Whoosh. The 2 streams of light were very fast. They arrived in front of everyone in an instant. Finally, 2 figures appeared. Accompanying them was a huge gust of wind that blew on everyone's faces. They were 2 middle-aged men. One of them was dressed in a red robe. He had a fair face and no beard. The other was dressed in a blue robe. He walked with a majestic gait and a burly figure. As soon as the 2 of them appeared, they looked at the All Beginnings Holy Daughter. Holy Daughter. The 2 of them nodded slightly. A smile finally appeared on the All Beginnings Holy Daughter's cold face. With the help of the 2 elders, I think that no matter what the matter is, it should be resolved this time. Behind her, the 100 All Beginnings Holy Lands cultivators were extremely shocked. Almighties! Yes, the 2 middle-aged men in front of her were the All Beginnings Holy Lands elders. They were also Almighties. They did not expect that the All Beginnings Holy Daughter would find 2 Almighties to resolve the matter in the northern region. It seemed that no matter who was behind this, they would not be able to contend against them. In that case, let's set off. I want to see who is behind all this. The All Beginnings Holy Daughter waved her sleeve and led the 2 Almighties and 100 experts onto the teleportation platform. Buzz! The huge array flickered with light, forming a powerful force that carried out the teleportation. Then the group of people disappeared from the array. In the secret chamber, Lin Xian opened his eyes and looked at the 1,000 Beasts cauldron in front of him. The corners of his mouth rose into a smile. This time's harvest had allowed him to refine 108 top-grade pills. These pills were very suitable for their current cultivation. Even Almighties would have a powerful effect after eating them. Since the pills had been refined, Lin Xian found Lu Mingyue, the dark red dragon, and the snow-white monkey to distribute the pills to them. Then, they began to cultivate in seclusion with all their strength. When they came out of seclusion, they began to prepare to besiege the All Beginnings Holy Daughter. Northern region. It had been some time since the Holy Daughter's belly band exhibition, but the aftermath was still ongoing. In every city, in the streets and alleys, people could be seen talking about this matter everywhere. Purple Cloud City was a very famous city in the northern region. There were many cultivators in the city, and it could be said that it was the place where news of the northern region spread. Here, the version of the exhibition that was circulating was the most. Everyone was relishing in the news, and even exaggerated it. After all, the All Beginnings Holy Daughter was an unattainable existence for them. Now that there was an opportunity to ridicule the All Beginnings Holy Daughter, they naturally would not miss it. However, on this day, just as they were drinking tea and chatting, a huge vortex of spiritual power suddenly appeared in the sky above Purple Cloud City. This scene directly attracted the attention of all the cultivators in the entire Purple Cloud City. At this moment, Countless cultivators looked up at the sky. In the purple cloud palace, the almighties and elders of the Gu family frowned. They were no stranger to this vision. It was a vision of heaven and earth, formed by cross-region teleportation. Needless to say, someone must have used a super teleportation formation to perform a super teleportation between regions. Ordinary sects did not deserve to have this kind of teleportation formation. Only peerless holy lands, peerless sects, and remote antiquity families could have it. Chapter 1886. Boom, boom, boom. In the sky, a huge vortex of spiritual power spun like a bottomless pit, about to swallow the entire city. In the surroundings, bolts of lightning appeared and bombarded the void. Boom. Finally, countless figures emerged from the huge vortex of spiritual power. There were more than 100 people densely packed together. As soon as these people appeared, they didn't land immediately. Instead, they waited for a while before they began to fly down in an orderly manner. Accompanying them was an extremely huge aura. It was as if countless mountains had fallen from the sky, making the warriors in the city breathless. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Looking at this scene, the elders of the Gu family in the purple cloud city also moved and flew into the sky. Gu Xiu also appeared in the sky. He looked at the figures descending from above and asked in a clear voice, "Which holy land have you come to, my purple cloud city?" His voice was like a clap of thunder rolling out. The purple cloud city was the territory of the Gu family, so they naturally had to figure out the other party's identity. Soon a response came from the sky. "We are warriors of the All Beginnings Holy Land. This time, our Saintess of All Beginnings is leading us to enjoy the great scenery of the northern region." They didn't expect to alarm the Gu family. After this voice, a flirtatious voice rang out. "Zheng Xiu of All Beginnings greets the elders." "What? It's really the Saintess of All Beginnings." Hearing this voice, the elders of the Gu family were moved. The warriors of the Purple Cloud City were even more shocked. They had been talking about her every day. They didn't expect her to come to the northern region. Needless to say, it must be related to the Saintess Bellyband incident. It seemed that the northern region would not be peaceful again. They knew that the Saintess of All Beginnings would definitely investigate this matter. They were afraid that the force behind it would come to light. At this time, two long roars came from the sky. "Haha, fellow Taoists of the Gu family, long time no see. It's the two of you. You two are also here." Gu Xiu and the elders of the Gu family were also surprised. They didn't expect the Saintess of All Beginnings to not only bring 100 elite masters, but also two powerful figures. It seemed that the Saintess of All Beginnings was really angry. "Fellow Taoist Zhuang, fellow Taoist Fei, long time no see." The elders of the Gu family also quickly responded. "What? Two almighties have come." When those martial artists below saw this scene, they were also extremely shocked. Two almighties and 100 elite martial artists would definitely be able to set off a bloody storm in the northern region. He just didn't know if the person hiding in the darkness and controlling the Saintess undergarment would be able to withstand it. The arrival of the Saintess of All Beginnings caused a sensation in the entire Purple Cloud City. Soon, the news spread like a gust of wind, sweeping through the other cities. Moreover, it was spreading throughout the entire northern region. Everyone knew that a storm was coming. On the other side, inside the Black Earth, Lin Xian and the other two had gone into seclusion to break through their cultivation after taking the pills. Among them, Lin Xian had broken through to the middle stage of the 5-star King Realm, and the Dark Red Dragon had broken through to the late stage of the 5-star King Realm. Both of their strengths had increased tremendously. In fact, Lin Xian felt that even if he were to encounter an almighty, he would still be able to fight back. On the other side, Lu Mingyue also came out of seclusion. Her strength had finally reached the level of a true saintess. The strength of the three of them had greatly improved, so their confidence was greatly boosted. "I wonder what the situation outside is like." Lin Xian's eyes flickered. "Let's go out and inquire about the situation first, and then make our arrangements." Lin Xian flew out, while the Dark Red Dragon and Lu Mingyue remained in the Black Earth. Half a day later, he landed in a city. In fact, there was no need for him to inquire at all. Now the news of the Saintess of all beginnings was circulating in every city. Therefore he got the news easily. She came so quickly. Lin Xian frowned slightly after learning the news of the Saintess of all beginnings' arrival. He didn't expect that the other party would bring 2 almighties, and more than 100 masters. Lin Xian hurried back to the Black Earth to discuss with the Dark Red Dragon and Lu Mingyue. Among them, the Dark Red Dragon counted the formations in his hands, and felt that they could almost resist. At this time, the Black Earth also flew out, and provided some of the formations that were originally left in the Black Earth. In this way, it was enough to resist 100 elite kings. The rest were the Saintess of all beginnings, and the 2 almighties. With Lu Mingyu's current strength, she should be able to resist the Saintess of all beginnings. Lin Xian and the Dark Red Dragon could also resist the almighties. However, it was uncertain how long they could resist. But the success rate should be more than 50%. This success rate was already very high, so Lin Xian didn't hesitate, and was ready to give it a try. If it really didn't work, he could still retreat calmly. Next, the 3 of them began to act. They chose a relatively remote and desolate city in the northern region, Northern Liang City. The Dark Red Dragon used the formations to create some ghostly scenes in the city, causing all the residents in the city to leave. In other words, the Northern Liang City they chose had become an empty city at this moment. Then, the Dark Red Dragon arranged the formations in and around the city. After everything was arranged, Lin Xian began to spread the news. Soon, the warriors in the northern region received the news, and were in an uproar. They couldn't believe it. What did you say? Did I hear it wrong? Someone wants to auction the Saintess belly band? Yes, I did get accurate news. That person is really going to do it. Heavens, this is too crazy. The Saintess of all beginnings had just arrived in the northern region, but the other party wanted to auction the Saintess belly band. This was obviously going against the Saintess of all beginnings. Exciting, it was really too exciting. Everyone seemed to have been injected with chicken blood, and quickly spread the news. Soon the entire northern region was in an uproar. Even the top forces like the Gu family, the Liang family, and the 4 symbols Holy Lands were very puzzled. What kind of existence dared to go against the Saintess of all beginnings? After the Saintess of all beginnings heard the news, her face was incomparably cold. Her beautiful eyes exuded a terrifying murderous aura. Humph! The other party is really reckless. He dares to appear at this time. Let him be arrogant for a while. After we go over, we will definitely catch him and tear him to pieces. I want to see who dares to go against our All Beginnings Holy Land. Cold shouts sounded as the warriors of the All Beginnings Holy Land snorted. Obviously, they were really angry at the other party's provocation. The Saintess of all beginnings calmed down and asked in a deep voice, "Is there any specific information?" She knew that now was not the time to lose her temper. She had to catch the other party first to prevent the matter from escalating. "Not yet, but it should be soon," her subordinate replied. "Good, continue to scout. Once there is news, leave and report it." Yes. Then many scouts left. In the main hall the atmosphere was gloomy. Chapter 1887. 7 days later, in northern Liang City, the Saintess undergarment was auctioned. The news spread like wildfire, and the entire northern region was in an uproar. The Saintess of all beginnings also received the news. Her face turned cold, and a murderous look appeared in her eyes. She didn't expect that the other party had finally made a move. But this time, she wanted to see who dared to be presumptuous in front of her. Everyone listen up. Well, set off for northern Liang City immediately. Soon, the Saintess of all beginnings left with her people. They set off for northern Liang City. Not only them, but most of the warriors in the entire northern region also set off for northern Liang City. They also wanted to see who was behind all this, and dared to fight against the Saintess of all beginnings. Northern Liang City was empty at this moment, except for Lin Xian, and the other 2 and the countless formations they had set up. But 1 day later, some people appeared in the city. Over the next few days, more and more people appeared, but most of them wandered outside the city. Only some extremely bold people dared to enter the city. As for the people outside the city, they were all waiting. They were waiting for the arrival of the Saintess of all beginnings. They knew that there would be a fierce battle between the two sides, and they didn't want to be involved in such a storm. On the 5th day, Lin Xian directly threw the Saintess undergarment into the sky, and it floated above northern Liang City. This scene immediately attracted the attention of those warriors. One had to know that although many people had gone to the exhibition, it was still too little compared to the entire northern region. At this moment, most people had not seen the Saintess undergarment with their own eyes. So when they saw it in the sky, they were all excited. Many people even directly flew into the sky to see it up close. This is the Saintess of all beginnings undergarment? It's really fragrant. The chaotic chi on it is too strong, and it even has the fragrance of a young girl. It really is the Saintess undergarment. Seeing it, this trip is not in vain. I wonder what price this item can be auctioned for. It's really exciting to think about it. Boom! Suddenly, a shocking fluctuation came from afar. Rays of resplendent aura flashed like a wave and swept over here. Suddenly, the faces of the people around northern Liang City changed dramatically, and they looked frightened. This aura made their hearts tremble, and they couldn't resist it at all. Boom! Boom! In the next moment, the sky full of brilliance arrived nearby, and a terrifying pressure spread out for thousands of miles, making one's hair stand on end. Puff! In the sky, a huge primal chaos hand stretched out. It was like a demonic mountain that came crashing down rapidly. Suddenly, the martial artists who were watching the doo-doo in the sky were blasted into a bloody mist and ceased to exist. Seeing this scene, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Their faces turned pale, and their bodies trembled non-stop. This is the Chaos Palm. The experts of the All Beginnings Holy Land have arrived. They must have seen the Saintess undergarment in the sky, so they were angry. Sure enough, the martial artists who were still in the sky felt their scalps go numb. They looked into the distance as if they had gone crazy. They were merely curious and excited, and wanted to observe the battle from a closer distance. Never had they imagined that they would run into people from the All Beginnings Holy Land. Most likely, they were going to run out of luck. The All Beginning Holy Land would definitely attack them. Sure enough, in the next moment, the terrifying chaotic palm in the sky slammed down again. It pierced through the void and enveloped dozens of King Realm experts. A terrifying power swept past them. Instantly, the dozen or so kings in the sky exploded. Humph! Who dares to blaspheme the All Beginnings Saintess? The All Beginnings Holy Land is handling matters. Those who have nothing to do with it should scram. Cold shouts resounded in the sky. The martial artists of northern Liang City were alarmed and frantically flew out of the city. They didn't dare to stay here any longer. If the All Beginnings Holy Land treated them as enemies, they wouldn't be able to leave. Soon, everyone retreated from northern Liang City. The city became empty once more. As for the other martial artists, they gathered outside northern Liang City and silently watched the battle. Humph! The sky trembled once more as a large hand grabbed the Saintess undergarment. The void trembled rapidly like a painting, as if it would shatter at any moment. But right at this time, a pitch-black ray of light shot out of northern Liang City. Then, it turned into a black fire qilin and soared into the sky. Accompanying it was a terrifying aura. Feeling this aura, everyone's heart trembled. They couldn't help but want to kneel down. What a terrifying power. Who is it? When the martial artists outside the city saw this scene, their faces turned pale. Boom! In the sky, the black fire qilin collided with the terrifying heavenly palm. The two energies sublimated and exploded. Dazzling light rushed in all directions. In the end, the black fire qilin roared and tore apart the heavenly palm with its valiant strength. Humph! A cold snort was heard. Clearly, the All Beginnings Holy Land's people were very dissatisfied with the other party's strength. In the next moment, the All Beginnings Saintess arrived with countless experts. Which scoundrel is it? Get out here! In the sky, an old man shouted loudly. His voice rolled out and swept down. However, there was no response from the city. It was empty and there wasn't a single person in sight. It was as if the black fire qilin just now had come from hell and wasn't created by someone. Seeing this scene, the All Beginnings Saintess frowned. The experts she brought with her were also frowning, because the city below them was too strange. They had probed it with their soul power more than once, but they couldn't sense any energy fluctuations. The martial artists outside the city also looked at each other. They didn't know who it was. In the city, Lin Xian, the dark red divine dragon, and Lu Mingyue hid in the array and concealed all their auras. Even a powerful figure couldn't detect their existence. Therefore, the all-beginning Saintess and the others couldn't see Lin Xian, and the other two. But Lin Xian and the others could see the situation above. Is that the all-beginning Saintess? Lin Xian looked up at the sky. Among them was a woman in a beautiful robe. Her aura was very special. Standing in the crowd, he could recognize her at a glance. Yes, it's her. Her name is Zheng Xiao, Lu Mingyue said coldly. Lin Xian nodded. Then he turned his eyes and glanced at the 100 experts behind the all-beginning Saintess. However, when he saw two middle-aged men among them, his pupils suddenly shrank. Powerful figures. The dark red divine dragon was also nervous. Damn it, this woman brought two powerful figures. Yes, the red-robed middle-aged man and the blue-robed middle-aged man in the sky were two powerful figures. Their chi and blood were like dragons, soaring into the sky. Everyone couldn't help but want to kneel down and worship them. Lin Xian was shocked, but then he snorted coldly. So what if they were powerful figures? Chapter 1888. The next moment, he used a formation to make the Saintess undergarment appear on the streets of the city again. Damn it, it's here again. The people of the All-Beginnings Holy Land in the sky saw this scene, and their faces immediately turned gloomy. This was clearly a provocation. Phil, go and kill him. A young man walked out with an abnormally cold expression. He looked at the Saintess of All Beginnings with a trace of adoration in his eyes. Then he said coldly, Saintess, let me go. Okay. The Saintess of All Beginnings nodded, and did not stop him. Given the current situation, she had to send someone to investigate the situation. Seeing the Saintess' permission, the young man was overjoyed. His figure flickered, and he turned into a stream of light and rushed down. Whoosh! In the blink of an eye, he appeared in the city. I don't care who you are. Hurry up and come out to die. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. The young man looked around and shouted coldly. No one responded to him. Only the Saintess undergarment in front of him was floating, emitting traces of primal chaos aura. Humph! The young man snorted coldly, thinking that the other party did not dare to come out. Therefore he strode forward, wanting to seize the Saintess undergarment. Soon, he arrived in front of the undergarment. When he smelled the fragrance, his eyes lit up. He stretched out his hand to grab it. But at this moment, countless sword chi appeared behind him, and quickly condensed into a figure. Pooh! With a sweep of the sword, a head flew and blood sprayed. The corpse fell, dyeing the ground red. Seeing this scene, the people outside the city were stunned. They had been paying close attention to the situation in the city, but they did not expect that someone would suddenly appear and kill the people of the All Beginnings Holy Land. This method was heaven-defying. In the sky, the Saintess of All Beginnings and the others frowned when they saw this scene. The other party had killed the young man in front of them. This was undoubtedly a slap to their faces. Therefore, everyone's expression was unsightly. Saintess, am willing to go down and kill the murderer. Am willing to. Oh, go too. Exclamations sounded one after another. Then, 8 figures turned into azure dragons and descended on the streets of the city. Their auras were like dragons, and their bodies were surrounded by primal chaos aura. Everyone stared at the blurry figure in front of them. This figure was one of the sword god phantoms of Lin Xian's 6 god sword art. At this moment, seeing 8 more people rushing over, Lin Xian released the other 5 sword god phantoms. He faced off against the 8 All Beginnings Holy Land cultivators. Kill! The great battle was on the verge of breaking out. But it ended quickly. The 8 kings had their foreheads pierced by the sword. Blood splattered everywhere as 8 corpses fell to the ground. One sword. Another sword. The 6 sword god phantoms attacked at the same time, killing 8 experts with a single strike. They were like gods of death, standing quietly on the street, the sword chi in their hands pointing to the sky. Terrifying killing intent overflowed into the sky, sweeping through the 9 heavens. Oh, go kill him. This time, there were a few old men whose clothes were fluttering in the wind. Their killing intent was awe-inspiring. However, the saintess of all beginnings shook her head slightly this time. No need, let's go down together. I want to see what other tricks they can play. Boom. Boom. Countless chaotic lights gathered under the feet of the saintess of all beginnings and turned into a divine wind, carrying everyone down. In the next moment, more than 100 people descended. Their enormous auras and powerful soul power instantly searched all the streets. However, they didn't find anyone except for the 6 sword god phantoms on the street. This caused them to frown, but they weren't too worried. This time, they had 100 experts, the saintess of all beginnings and 2 almighties. Unless the other party was a peerless almighty, no one would be able to defeat them. And if a peerless almighty really attacked them, no matter what the result was, the all beginnings holy land would definitely hunt them down. They actually came down. Inside the formation, the dark red divine dragon was overjoyed when he saw this scene. Originally, he was still thinking about how to lure all those people down from the sky. He didn't expect that the other party would actually take the initiative to come down. Now they could close the door and activate the formation. Let's go. Lin Xian didn't hesitate. Soon after, he and the dark red divine dragon activated all the formations in the entire northern Liang city. Apart from the teleportation formation used to transfer almighties, all the other formations bloomed with endless light. Thunder rumbled and booms resounded throughout the world. The entire ground began to tremble. Long rainbows pierced through the clouds like dragons. They were extremely dazzling. In the next moment, the entire northern Liang city was enveloped. Formations. So many formations. Outside northern Liang city, the martial artists felt their scalps go numb. Who would have thought that an empty city would actually have so many spirit arrays set up without anyone noticing? This was simply too unbelievable. Fortunately, they hadn't entered before. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to come out. What kind of ruthless person would use so many formations to fight against the all beginnings holy land? They were extremely shocked. Resplendent rays of light erupted from their eyes. They wanted to see the scene inside the city. Light flickered inside the city as runes lit up all around. The expressions of the people from the all beginnings holy land changed. They didn't expect that there would be so many formations waiting for them. Saintess, what should we do? The kings quickly asked. The aura released by the formations in front of them was too terrifying. Even if they had 100 experts, it would still be very difficult to deal with them. The saintess of all beginnings coldly snorted. Her expression was extremely cold. What are you afraid of? Aren't they just some formations? You guys should also use the Chaos Sword Array to fight against these formations. As long as someone appears, kill them without mercy. After saying that, a sharp killing intent appeared in her eyes. It turned into 2 resplendent rays of light that pierced through the doo-doo in front of her. In an instant, the pink doo-doo in front of her was shattered. The 2 almighties had calm expressions because these formations couldn't threaten them. Thus, their eyes erupted with light. Their powerful soul power formed a storm. Who is it? Come out. What? You still don't dare to come out? The saintess of all beginnings sneered. Don't dare to come out? You think too highly of yourselves. We've always been here. It's just that you're too weak to discover us. A mocking laugh sounded from the opposite side. Then, the formations flickered and Lin Xian and the other 2 appeared. Saintess of all beginnings? How impressive. You brought so many people here. But you think they can protect your life? Today, I will kill the saintess. My name will spread throughout the eastern wasteland. You want to kill me with just you? You're overestimating yourselves. The saintess of all beginnings sneered. I'm the saintess. I'm not someone you can imagine. You're just lucky to become the saintess. If you really want to compete with strength and talent, you're not qualified to become the saintess. Chapter 1889. Then, the saintess of all beginnings' expression changed. The Holy Land cultivators behind her also widened their eyes in disbelief. Even the 2 almighties frowned. Lu Mingyue, it's really you. The saintess of all beginnings' eyes were filled with killing intent. I didn't expect you to use such a despicable method. That undergarment is yours, right? So what? You've chased us over and over again. Do you really think we're easy to bully? Today I'm going to cut you down with my sword. Lin Xian took a step forward. The sword chi on his body shone, making him look like a sword immortal. You, a 5-star king, dares to stand out and show off? Ridiculous. Lu Mingyue, your little lover isn't very smart. He dares to go against the all beginnings holy land. He's really courting death. The saintess of all beginnings looked at Lin Xian with a trace of disdain. A 5-star king was not enough to defeat her. She could kill him with a wave of her finger. So what if I'm a 5-star king? Lin Xian sneered. I'm more than enough to deal with you. I think you're out of your mind. A little 5-star king dares to talk nonsense here? In front of us, you're just a piece of trash and ant. We can kill you with a wave of our fingers. A young man stood out and sneered. So you'd better kneel and wait for death. Maybe we'll be happy and give you a quick death. Otherwise, you'll know what it's like to live a life worse than death. A 5-star king is trash? Is that so? Then your saintess clone was easily killed by me. Doesn't that mean she's worse than trash? You. What did you say? Don't talk nonsense. The young man's eyes widened in disbelief. The other party said that he had killed the saintess clone. How was this possible? He wanted to say something, but the saintess of all beginnings trembled slightly. Her beautiful eyes were filled with endless coldness. Damn brat, it's you. You dared to kill my clone. I won't spare you today. What? A clone was really killed? Everyone was shocked, and the young man's body trembled, almost kneeling on the ground. The clone of a saintess was at the level of a saintess reserve. Ordinary people would not be able to kill it. However, a 5-star king had actually killed the holy maiden's clone. This was truly inconceivable. But soon he sneered. Damn it, that's impossible. You must have used some kind of trick, or an elder of the family took action. That's how you succeeded. Otherwise, how could a mere 5-star king like you possibly succeed? In the next moment, the young man let out a cold shout and extended his hand to grab Lin Xian. The void trembled, as if a scroll was being violently rotated by someone. A gigantic palm appeared, surrounded by resplendent multicolored light. It covered the sky and covered the earth, enveloping Lin Xian. Humph! Lin Xian coldly snorted. With a flick of his finger, a beam of sword chi surged out. Puff! In an instant, the sword chi pierced through the huge palm, and even cut off the young man's arm. Ah! The young man clutched his severed arm and crazily screamed. His eyes were filled with alarm. He did not believe that his opponent was so powerful. I'm trash? You can't even block a single move of mine? Are you trash among trash? Lin Xian sneered, disdain appearing at the corner of his mouth. Ah, damned brat, I'll kill you. The young man's expression was malevolent. Streams of primal chaos, chi rushed out of his body and transformed into a giant in the void. Buzz. But at this moment, Lin Xian took a step forward, using his extreme speed to instantly arrive in front of the young man. He slapped out with his palm, sending the young man flying. Then he returned to his original position. Bang! The young man with the severed arm was slapped, and half of his face was shattered. Not only that, but his body was also sent flying, crashing into a nearby house. Astonishment, absolute astonishment. The people of the All Beginnings Holy Land were all stupefied. The majority of them did not even see Lin Xian's movements clearly. There was no doubt that this was a peak expert, an existence they could not contend with. The saintess of all beginnings shouted, "Everyone listen to my order. Attack and kill them. As for that bitch Lu Mingyue, I want her alive. Kill." With this order, the martial artists of the All Beginnings Holy Land rushed toward Lin Xian's group. You want to attack? Lin Xian sneered. With a wave of his hand, the entire ground trembled. Endless brilliance shrouded the 100 or so people. Then the sky was filled with dazzling lights. Array after array displayed formidable power, rapidly bombarding the kings. It's an offensive array. Hurry up and defend. In the sky, angry roars resounded. Then intense collisions rang out, and terrifying energy tore through the void. Did you really think that we let you in without any preparation? Lin Xian sneered. The plan was going smoothly. Apart from the saintess of all beginnings and the two almighty experts, everyone else had been enveloped by the array. For a while they could not come out. Well, let those people deal with the array. Next, let's play. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. He kept glancing at the saintess of all beginnings and the two almighty experts. Humph. You want to attack us? You're really overestimating yourself. The saintess of all beginnings sneered. No, your opponent is not me but her. Lin Xian dodged and got out of the way. Zheng Xiao, I didn't expect you to be so vicious as to send people to kill me. But now, it's time to pay back this hatred. A terrifying aura surged from Lu Mingyu's body. Her delicate hand held a willow leaf saber. Lu Mingyue, I admit that you were indeed a genius before. But now, you can't be compared with me at all. I'm already a saintess. The resources in my hands are absolutely beyond your imagination. In this period of time, I've far surpassed you. So attacking me is the biggest mistake you've made. Humph. Lu Mingyue did not answer. Instead, she clenched the willow leaf saber in her hand. She waved her arm, and pieces of saber light flew out. The two peerless beauties fought together. The momentum was very terrifying. There are two left. Ruffian Dragon, do you choose the red one or the blue one? Lin Xian asked indifferently. It was as if they were choosing two cabbages instead of two almighty experts. I choose the red one. As for the blue one, I'll leave it to you, said the dark red divine dragon. Courting death. The two almighty experts were furious. The other party dared to choose them so casually. How reckless. After all, they were almighty experts. Even the saints would not dare to be presumptuous in front of them. But now, the man and the snake were casually choosing them to fight as if they were cabbages. The two almighty experts' faces were unusually gloomy. It seems that the two of you are really reckless. Chapter 1890. As almighties, our power is not something ants like you can imagine. Now, go to hell and repent. The red-robed almighty snorted. Endless rays of light shot into the sky from his body, as if a flaming divine beast had descended. Accompanying it was an unimaginable power. It instantly enveloped the entire northern Liang city. At this moment, whether it was the Sacred Land warriors who were fighting against the array, Zheng Xiao, or Lu Mingyue, their faces changed drastically. They could feel a powerful force enveloping their surroundings. The Almighties have made their move, everyone exclaimed. As for the cultivators outside the city, their bodies were also trembling. Although many of them could not see the situation inside, no one left. Instead, more and more people gathered here. Suddenly, a powerful force surged out from the city and enveloped the area. Immediately, the warriors trembled and almost knelt on the ground. Almighties, the Almighties have made their move. Everyone screamed when they felt the pressure. Who is inside? Even the Almighties have made their move? Many people's eyes shone brightly as they wanted to find out. Inside the city, the red-robed Almighty was like a god of war with supreme majesty. Boom! In the next moment, a red palm slapped toward Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon. The void trembled as heaven and earth exploded in an instant. The terrifying red palm rushed over like a red mountain. It was unbearable. Buzz! Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon's pupils constricted. Although they spoke frivolously, they had never been careless. After all, the other party was an almighty. This was also Lin Xian's first time fighting with an almighty. An almighty was an extremely powerful person among the kings. Their cultivation was usually at the level of a 7-star king. Such a person was extremely terrifying and had powerful divine abilities. Hence they were called almighties. At this moment, seeing the red palm slapping toward them, Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon quickly used the heavenly dragon's 8 steps and raised their speed to the limit. Boom! The red palm slammed down and exploded the void. However, Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon dodged the palm by a hair's breadth. They actually dodged it? The mighty figure in red looked surprised. He didn't expect these two ants to be able to dodge his attack. What a strange movement technique, to actually be able to dodge my attack. No wonder you dare to be so arrogant. It turns out that you have such a strange movement technique. You two ants. Do you really think that you can fight against a mighty figure with just this movement technique? As expected of an ignorant ant. By the side, the mighty figure in blue sneered. Although the other party dodged their attacks, so what? They did not think that two ants could fight against them. On the other side, Lin Xian's expression was grave. He said to the dark red divine dragon, "Let's begin, ruffian dragon. Try your best to delay him." "All right." Ruffian dragon nodded. He then took out the 10,000 beast cauldron, and several quaint shields appeared around it. Previously, Lin Xian had given him quite a few earth-tier treasures, and now, he was using them. In the next moment, he swung his dragon tail, and quickly charged forward. "Reckless snake, you're courting death. Today I'll stew you with snake soup." The mighty figure in red sneered. "How dare you come here? You really don't know what's good for you." On the other side, Lin Xian also used the dragon sword realm, which instantly enveloped the mighty figure in blue. The mighty figure in blue did not dodge at all, nor did he resist. After all, a 5-star king's realm could not hurt him at all. He wanted to see where the other party's confidence came from. And what kind of means did he have to compete with a mighty figure? Countless sword chi surrounded him, as if it was a world of sword Tao. As for the mighty figure in blue, endless blue light surrounded him, forming a huge divine bell that protected his body. "Brat, I advise you to surrender obediently. Call out the person behind you. You alone can't set up such a killing array. I really want to know which faction you're from, and whether they sent any mighty figures this time." The mighty figure in blue did not take Lin Xian seriously at all. In his opinion, there must be other experts hiding in the city. "You want to find out who's behind me? Sure, defeat me first." Then, he pulled out the 9 darkness demonic sword, and his entire body was filled with monstrous killing intent. The dragon sword realm around him cooperated, and quickly slashed out shocking sword chi, slashing forward. It was like a vast sea, extremely terrifying. "It's useless." The mighty figure in blue looked disdainful. With a wave of his sleeve, a vast blue light surged out, blocking the sword chi that filled the sky. Then, he snorted coldly, and the sword chi around him shattered into pieces. "Did you see that, kid? Your attack is nothing in front of me." Lin Xian's expression was solemn. He had to admit that the mighty figure was too terrifying. With such an attack, even the saint would have to resist it with all his strength. However, the other party only waved his hand and destroyed all his sword chi. This was something he had never encountered before. However, since he had already decided to attack, he naturally could not back down. He stomped his foot and turned into a sword light, slashing down with the demonic sword in his hand. "It's useless." The mighty figure in blue sneered disdainfully. He stretched out his palm and grabbed at the air. Buzz! Suddenly the entire void was imprisoned. It was as if an invisible quagmire had appeared around him, causing Lin Xian's speed to decrease rapidly. With a cold snort, countless sword lights shot out from Lin Xian's body and escaped from the restraint of space. Then the demonic sword stabbed forward. This sword strike even carried a loud and clear dragon roar. Ka ka ka. The 9 darkness demonic sword slashed on the blue light screen, creating a shocking collision. Then it tore open a crack. However, that was all he could do, because the demonic sword could not go any further. This time, the mighty figure in blue was also surprised. He did not expect that the other party could tear open his blue light screen. This indeed shocked him. However, he did not think that it was Lin Xian's ability. Instead, he stared at the other party's 9 darkness demonic sword. He did not expect that an ant would have such a treasure sword. It seemed to be at least an upper-grade Earth-rank treasure. Not bad, not bad. I just happen to lack a suitable weapon. You can give me this demonic sword. The mighty figure in blue's eyes lit up. Obviously, he had his eyes on the demonic sword. Give it to you, my ass. Lin Xian snorted. The great dragon sword soul circulated crazily, and his combat strength increased again. A terrifying sword chi swept through the void. At the same time, he waved his left fist. The apocalyptic black dragon fist's violent aura turned into a ferocious black dragon and rushed out. Boom boom boom. The apocalyptic black dragon fist shook the mountains and rivers, and exploded the void. However, when it hit the blue light screen, It seemed to have merged with the sea. Chapter 1891. Aunt, you're too weak. The mighty figure in blue sneered and waved his hand. A terrifying force instantly rushed toward Lin Xian. Suddenly, Lin Xian's scalp went numb. He felt an unprecedented crisis. The next moment, he performed the heavenly dragon's 8 steps and quickly dodged. At the same time, the black armor wrapped around his body. Whoosh! He appeared on the other side and dodged most of the attacks. However, the power of the mighty figure was too terrifying. Some of the aftershocks hit him and sent him flying. Boom! Lin Xian crashed into more than a dozen buildings before he stopped. The mighty figure in blue sneered with his hands behind his back. And it's over. Then he stopped paying attention to Lin Xian and turned to look at the other battlefields. On the other side, the dark red dragon was also sent flying. The saintess of all beginnings and Lu Mingyue were locked in a fierce battle. The other kings were trying their best to resist the bombardment of the formations. I didn't expect there to be so many formations here. They're too much of an eyesore. Why don't we just tear them apart? The two mighty figures sneered and decided to attack the surrounding formations. Boom! However, just as they were about to act, shocking energy exploded in the two ruins behind them. Then 2 figures appeared. One was Lin Xian. His black hair danced wildly, and his body was surrounded by sword qi. The black armor shone brightly and covered his body. Therefore he was hit, but it was not a fatal injury. On the other side, the dark red dragon was also baring his fangs and brandishing his claws. He had the body of a divine dragon, and his original realm was that of a mighty figure. Therefore, although this attack hurt him, it did not break his dragon body. Old man, you've successfully angered me. I'll let you know how powerful I am. Lin Xian gnashed his teeth. The dragon sword soul in his body had reached its limit, as if it was about to break out of his body. On the other side, the dark red dragon roared crazily. Damn, old man, how dare you hit me? I'll tear you apart. Kill! Kill! With 2 furious roars, Lin Xian and the crimson divine dragon charged forward once again. Roar! The dark red divine dragon let out a furious roar as its body suddenly expanded into 100 feet long divine dragon. It bared its fangs and brandished its claws as it charged forward. A terrifying dragon might filled the air. What? It's actually a divine dragon. This time, the red-clothed Almighty frowned. He didn't expect that the creature he thought was a snake was actually a dragon. Boom! In the next moment, he unleashed his great magic power and fought against the dark red divine dragon. On the other side, Lin Xian's body was also shining with golden light. His terrifying aura soared into the sky. A dragon-shaped sword shadow appeared in front of him, and he grabbed it. Boom! With a swing of the sword, the terrifying sword qi was like a vast ocean. Useless kid! The mighty figure in blue sneered disdainfully. He waved his palm again and slapped forward. He could easily shatter such an attack. Boom! Crack crack! However, this time his expression changed. That was because the terrifying sword qi had actually split apart the blue screen of light and slashed at his palm. A bloody scar appeared on his palm. How is that possible? He actually broke through my defense. The mighty figure in blue narrowed his eyes in disbelief. He was an almighty, a supreme existence. Even the saints couldn't break through his defense, but the 5-star king in front of him had done it. It was unbelievable. Damn kid, how dare you hurt me? I'll make you pay a painful price. The mighty figure in blue was furious. Previously, when he fought with Lin Xian, he was like a cat playing with a mouse. In his opinion, Lin Xian was just an ant that he could crush with a little force. Now he was bitten by an ant. He couldn't stand it. So what if you're an almighty? Today I'll defy the heavens. Lin Xian's expression was cold as a terrifying sword qi rushed out. Roar! The monstrous sword qi turned into a black dragon that emitted a powerful force and charged forward. Kid, you're still too inexperienced to fight with me. The mighty figure in blue sneered and spat out a surging river that swept toward Lin Xian. In the next moment, the sword qi true dragon collided with the roaring river, emitting a violent energy in the air. Facing this energy, the mighty figure in blue didn't retreat. Instead, he advanced and charged toward Lin Xian. Lin Xian was wearing the black battle armor, and using the heavenly dragon's 8 steps, he dodged quickly. Buzz! In an instant, the mighty figure in blue arrived near Lin Xian, and slammed his palm down mercilessly again. Lin Xian's pupils constricted as he felt a fatal danger. In the next moment, he flipped his left hand, and the Hell God's spear appeared in his hand. He stabbed forward. A terrifying aura shot into the sky, and pierced through the void to meet the terrifying palm. Boom! With an explosion, Lin Xian was sent flying and spat out blood from the corner of his mouth. However, the mighty figure also took 3 steps back. It was another high-grade Earth Step artifact. The mighty figure in blue was shocked. He didn't expect Qin Haodong to have so many treasures. Good boy, it seems that I've underestimated you. But when you die, all the treasures on you will be mine. This time, the mighty figure in blue's aura rose again. He was like a demon king that could crush the 9 heavens. Buzz! Not only that, but he also spat out a terrifying sound wave from his mouth. The sound wave was like a demonic sound that carried a powerful soul attack. The kings in the surroundings were affected as well. What a terrifying soul attack. All the warriors around retreated. They didn't dare to fight against the aftermath of the sound wave. For a moment, there was a vacuum around Lin Xian. That boy wants to compete with the mighty figure? He's overestimating himself. He was definitely dead. This attack would definitely extinguish his soul. The warriors of the holy ground of all beginnings, who were fighting against the array in the distance, sneered when they saw this. Competing with soul power? Lin Xian sneered. His current soul power was no weaker than the mighty figure's. Therefore, his soul power gushed out, and turned into a transparent sword qi that slashed forward. Boom! 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 Their soul powers collided in the air. With them as the center, they swept out in all directions. At this moment, not only did the kings in the city feel a powerful soul pressure, but even the warriors watching the battle outside the city trembled and almost knelt on the ground. It's a soul attack. Oh my God, who is fighting? Just the aura alone is hard to resist. Mighty figures, this is definitely a fight between 2 mighty figures. Heavens, that mysterious organization is really terrifying. They can send out mighty figures. Outside the city wall, exclamations were heard. Although they couldn't see the situation inside, they judged that it was a fight between 2 mighty figures based on the energy fluctuation and the strength of the soul power. Of course, this was only their guess. Chapter 1892. In the city, the mighty figure in blue looked very upset. In his opinion, the other party dared to fight him with soul power, which was simply courting death. But now, he found that was not the case. The other party's soul power was very powerful, and had reached the level of a mighty figure. It was not weaker than his at all. He couldn't believe it at all. If a saint relied on various magical powers and magic treasures to fight him to a draw, he would be shocked. Although he was shocked, he could still accept it. But the other party was only a 5-star king, who was even weaker than a saint. Not to mention fighting with a mighty figure like him. But now the other party had done it. Although he was at a disadvantage, he couldn't kill the other party in a short time. What worried him even more was that the other party had endless magic treasures and magical powers. And the more he fought, the stronger he became. Who knew if this was the other party's ultimate combat power? Maybe it would increase after a while. On the other side, the mighty figure in red was also shouting angrily. Obviously, he had also suffered a strong blow. At this moment, the dark red divine dragon was absolutely powerful. Although he hadn't fully recovered his magical powers, he was powerful enough to fight against a mighty figure. Therefore, the two fought fiercely, and the mighty figure in red was completely restrained. As for the other warriors in the city, they were all dumbfounded. The warriors of the Holy Land, who were fighting against the array, were dumbfounded when they saw this scene. They didn't expect the other party to be able to fight against a mighty figure. This was too shocking. Damn it! Who the hell are they? How can they fight against a mighty figure? Heavens, am I dreaming? These people were so shocked that 1 or 2 of them were so excited that they accidentally forgot to defend themselves, and were directly killed by those arrays. Damn it! Stop watching, hurry up and defend. Let's fight against these arrays first. Even if they can fight against a mighty figure, they absolutely can't defeat him. Angry shouts came as these people once again fought against the arrays in the sky with all their strength. On the other side, two fairy-like women were also fighting fiercely. But sensing the situation in front of her, the beautiful face of the saintess of all beginnings also changed. Impossible! How can they fight against a mighty figure? The saintess of all beginnings was shocked. Nothing is impossible. Although he is only a 5-star king, his power is absolutely beyond your imagination. Ordinary saints were no match for him. What? Ordinary holy sons are no match for him? The holy maiden of all beginnings was really shocked this time. The holy sons and holy daughters were the top geniuses of the younger generation. However, the saints were also divided into strong and weak. Some of the stronger saints could indeed see through Hung Nung. However, there weren't many of them. However, the other party wasn't a holy son at all. He was only a 5-star king. Yet he was able to contend against an almighty at this moment. This truly surprised her greatly. Damn it, where did you find such a person? The saintess of all beginnings looked at Lu Mingyue with killing intent surging in her eyes. She couldn't figure it out. Lu Mingyue was just someone who had been abandoned by the Holy Land. How could she have found such a powerful helper? Lu Mingyue didn't bother to answer at all. Instead, she sped up her attacks. He knew that although Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon were strong and could fight against mighty figures, they wouldn't be able to last for long. After all, the power of a powerful figure was too terrifying. So she had to finish off the saintess of all beginnings as soon as possible. You want to defeat me? You must be dreaming. The saintess of all beginnings naturally understood this point, and immediately sneered. These days, with the full cultivation of the Holy Land, her strength was still extremely terrifying. She believed that she had definitely surpassed Lu Mingyue. The next moment, she waved her jade-like hand and blasted forward. Endless chaotic aura gushed out, and streaks of chaotic lightning exploded in the air like thunder. Large amounts of energy flew in the air, which was extremely terrifying. Lu Mingyue was moved because the other party was indeed too powerful. However, she had also obtained a lot of opportunities, and her combat strength had reached the level of a real saintess. So even though she was shocked, she wasn't afraid in her heart. The next moment, Lu Mingyue waved the willow leaf saber in her hand, which turned into pieces of saber light that destroyed everything and completely dissolved the terrible light palm. The saintess of all beginnings was also shocked. She didn't expect that Lu Mingyue had also reached the level of a saintess. Before she became a saintess, she and Lu Mingyue were both saintess candidates. However, now that she had become a saintess and received the full cultivation of the Holy Land, her strength had greatly improved and directly reached the level of a saintess. Moreover, she thought that Lu Mingyue was still at the level of a saintess candidate. Although there was only a difference of 2 words, the gap between a real saintess and a saintess candidate was huge. It was like a gap between heaven and earth that couldn't be crossed. However, to her surprise, Lu Mingyue had also broken through and reached the level of a real saintess. This greatly surprised her. So what if you've reached the level of a saintess? Compared with me, you're still far behind. Because you don't have a holy land to back you up. Speaking of this, the saintess of all beginnings' expression was extremely solemn. Countless chaotic aura directly enveloped her. At the same time, a huge chaotic domain soared into the sky and swept toward Lu Mingyue. Lu Mingyue shouted coldly, not afraid at all. Her king's domain also emerged. The next moment, the 2 domains collided in the air. Boom! Boom! This was a fierce battle. Both of them had the combat strength of a saintess, so at this moment, they were evenly matched. The 2 kings' domains kept colliding, bursting out brilliant lights one after another. The void cracked, the earth trembled, and countless cracks spread in all directions. The saintess of all beginnings was like a fairy. Her expression was cold, and her palms moved with powerful energy and terrible killing intent. Lu Mingyue also felt great pressure, but she didn't panic. Instead, she calmly dealt with it, because she believed that she could definitely kill her opponent. Boom! 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 After another fierce collision of domains, Both of them kept retreating, spitting out blood. At this moment, against her beautiful face, there was a different kind of beauty. Kill! Lu Mingyue shouted with a murderous look. Both of them were saintesses, so she had absolute confidence that she could kill her opponent. In the next moment, she changed her previous route. Instead of being incomparably ethereal, she opened and closed wide. The long saber in her hand was like a demonic saber, slashing in all directions. At this moment, Lu Mingyue seemed to have transformed into a demoness, which was extremely terrifying. The saintess of all beginnings expression finally changed. She didn't expect her opponent to be so powerful that she couldn't suppress her. This made her extremely uneasy, and even a little crazy. Impossible, damn it, this is impossible. I don't believe it. B*TCH, go to hell. Chapter 1893. However, Lu Mingyue, her former opponent, was no weaker than her at this moment. In fact, she was even stronger than her. The saintess of all beginnings couldn't accept this. Damn bitch, go to hell. The saintess of all beginnings expression was a little ferocious. The next moment, her lily-white hands quickly formed a seal, and endless light erupted from her king's domain. Finally, the chaotic energy quickly trembled and transformed into a figure that was exactly the same as the saintess of all beginnings. A total of 3 figures appeared, each one like the real saintess of all beginnings. These were chaotic clones. Lin Xian had killed such a clone before. He just didn't expect the saintess of all beginnings to refine 3 chaotic clones. The 3 clones appeared, floating in the king's domain. They didn't attack. Instead, they sat cross-legged in the air, exuding a mysterious aura. Every single one of them was flawless and extraordinary, as if they were fairies who had descended from the heavens. Their lily-white hands formed a seal, forming one strange seal after another. Then, a vast aura gushed out from their bodies, forming a Tao diagram in the sky that wanted to suppress Lu Mingyue. So powerful, Lu Mingyue was moved. She knew about this kind of chaotic clone, but she hadn't cultivated it at that time. She didn't expect the other party to have cultivated it. She knew that there would be a fierce battle, so she didn't rush to attack. Instead, a purple battle armor appeared on her body, completely covering her delicate body. After putting up a good defense, Lu Mingyue finally attacked. She raised her left hand, and countless chaotic lights surrounded her. Then she slapped out. The chaotic energy tumbled all over the sky, forming a kunpeng. It was incomparably huge, crushing the 9 heavens, and quickly flew toward the saintess of all beginnings. Umph! The saintess of all beginnings coldly snorted. The king's domain behind her flickered, and the 3 chaotic clones' palms were constantly changing seals. Each clone bloomed with incomparably bright light. They were like fairies, incomparably sacred. Countless runes rushed out of the 3 clones, turning into a heavenly hand that slapped forward. Boom! In the next moment, the jade-white palm collided with the terrifying kunpeng. The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The violent energy formed a storm, spreading in all directions. Boom! Boom! The surrounding buildings instantly collapsed. Even the distant All Beginnings Holy Land's martial artists and the array formations in the sky were affected and dimmed. One could imagine how terrifying this attack was. Whoosh! Lu Mingyue's body swayed, and the willow leaf saber in her hand unleashed a saber light, splitting apart the terrifying energy storm. Then he quickly charged forward. In the blink of an eye, she arrived above the saintess of all clans and slashed down with her long saber. The saintess of all beginnings looked up at the scene with a strange light in her beautiful eyes. The 3 clones behind her provided even more runes. As she waved her hands, they formed a terrifying screen of light. Boom! The 2 of them fought a crazy battle. Terrifying light soared into the sky. Each of Lu Mingyue's slashes was stronger than the last. She was like a demonic god, slashing apart the light screen and descending forcefully. The saintess of all beginnings had a grave expression on her face. Her entire body was surrounded by light. Although she was enveloped by the entire king's domain, she could still feel how terrifying that blade light was. Her opponent's saber light was simply too powerful. It actually shattered her 7 layers of light barriers. The distance between the 2 of them was very close, only a few meters. If she was hit by Lu Mingyu's saber light, it would definitely not be a joke. She would definitely be seriously injured. Damn it! How could this bitch become so strong? The Saintess of all beginnings frowned. She really couldn't understand how Lu Mingyue could be even more terrifying than her. This was simply incredible. Buzz! Buzz! However, she would not admit defeat. The next moment, a look of determination appeared in her beautiful eyes. Then her palms drew a strange movement. The three clones behind her suddenly opened their eyes, and light burst out. The runes on their bodies shone even brighter, and their jade-like hands quickly formed a strange seal. Then, they gently opened their red lips, and a strange syllable emerged in the void. It was like the sound of nature. It was extremely mysterious, and each syllable carried a terrifying energy. These syllable runes were all injected into the Saintess of all beginnings, making her shine like a goddess. Boom! The next moment, she waved her white palms, constantly slapping them, and rushed into the sky. Rays of bright light drifted in all directions. At this moment, the Saintess of all beginnings was indeed extremely powerful. She was like 1,000 hands Guanyin, constantly waving the white jade-like hand of heaven. It blotted out the sky and covered the earth, grabbing forward. Humph! Do you think that your doppelganger divine ability is invincible? Today I will break your divine power. Facing the terrifying hand of heaven, Lu Mingyue snorted coldly. Her opponent's strength was also beyond her expectations, but she still had another divine power. Heaven-defying demonic saber. This was an ancient lost technique. It was very powerful and terrifying. However, although this divine power was terrifying, ordinary kings did not dare to use it at all, because it was dangerous. This heaven-defying demonic saber was powered by a person's spiritual power and life force in the body to exert its greatest power. Therefore, even if one killed the opponent, they would suffer great damage. They might even fall seriously ill, and in serious cases, they might even lose their lives. Therefore, ordinary people did not dare to use it at all. Unexpectedly, in order to defeat the Saintess of all beginnings, Lu Mingyue even had to use this forbidden divine power. Hearing that Lu Mingyue was using the heaven-defying demonic saber, the Saintess of all beginnings' pupil shrank sharply. She had heard of this divine power. She just did not expect that Lu Mingyue would have such a terrifying divine power. You want to use the heaven-defying demonic saber? You're really overestimating yourself. It seems that you can only stop here. The Saintess of all beginnings sneered. She knew that Lu Mingyu's combat strength was only SOSO. Otherwise, she would not risk her life to use the heaven-defying demonic saber. Humph! On the opposite side, Lu Mingyue snorted coldly and did not answer at all. However, a terrifying aura erupted from her body. Wisps of blurry chaos chi began to gather around her. It formed a vague saber shadow that kept spinning. When the first saber shadow emerged, Lu Mingyu's face immediately turned pale. Her life force had been taken away a lot, but her aura was indeed getting stronger and stronger. Secret technique of all beginnings. Seeing this scene, the Saintess of all beginnings did not dare to be careless. She quickly urged the three clones behind her to strike out mysterious runes. They condensed into a light shield in front of her. A bronze armor rushed out of her body and wrapped her body, revealing only a pair of cold eyes. Humph! Let's see if your heaven-defying demonic saber, or my secret technique of all beginnings, is more powerful. The Saintess of all beginnings snorted coldly. On the opposite side, Lu Mingyue suddenly opened her eyes. Strange Dao patterns flashed in her beautiful eyes. Chapter 1894. Slash. With a shout, Lu Mingyu's jade-like hands danced, and the lancet in her hand slashed down quickly. The terrifying saber radiance flashed like a rainbow, cutting through the void. It slashed down forcefully in front of her. The surrounding wind blew violently, and thunder and lightning fell. As the saber slashed out, the world lost its color. The terrifying saber radiance was mighty between heaven and earth, and the surging energy surged forward like waves. A huge saber radiance rushed straight into the sky. At this moment, all the warriors in the city changed their expressions and looked back in horror. Heavens, what kind of saber technique is this? It's so terrifying. Is this the legendary devil saber against the heavens? This woman is crazy. How dare she use such a demonic cultivation method? The warriors of the sacred land were horrified. Even Lin Xian, who was fighting with a powerful figure, frowned. He could naturally feel the horror of this saber. It was not weaker than the sword chi that contained the dragon sword soul. This surprised him very much. The dragon sword soul was an offensive saint technique, and there were few techniques in the world that could compare to it. However, it was really surprising that Lu Mingyue could use a demonic saber that was on par with it. Not to mention Lin Xian. Even the powerful figure in blue changed his expression. He naturally knew the power of the devil's saber against the heavens, but he didn't know if the saintess of all beginnings could resist it. Boom! In front of her, the vast energy slashed down toward the saintess of all beginnings. The saintess of all beginnings launched a strong defense, and she would not sit still and wait for death. She waved her jade-like hands, and bright light palms rose into the air. Boom! Boom! However, the terrifying palm was actually devoured by the demonic saber after coming into contact with it. Not only that, the demonic saber seemed to be able to absorb the energy of the light palms and became more dazzling and powerful. As expected of a demonic saber, it could swallow the enemy's attack and use it as its own energy to strengthen itself. It was indeed full of demonic power. Damn it! Seeing this scene, the saintess of all beginnings' face turned even uglier. She could neither fight back nor not fight back. She could only move her body and keep dodging. However, the saber shadow was very strange and locked onto the saintess of all beginnings. Boom! The terrifying saber radiance turned into a demonic shadow and slashed in front of the saintess of all beginnings. Pung! The shield of light in front of her flickered and shook violently. As the two collided, waves of vast energy swept through the 9 heavens. The runic light shield only lasted for a moment before it was cut in half. As for the demonic blade, it shone even brighter, completely enveloping the saintess of Wanshu. The pupils of the saintess of all beginnings shrank sharply. She felt the threat of death. Even if she was wearing armor, it would be difficult for her to block this attack. But at this critical moment, the saintess of all beginnings' eyes flashed with determination, and she shouted, "Form shift." In an instant, her body disappeared and reappeared behind him. A chaos avatar appeared at the spot where she had been standing. Puff! As soon as the doppelganger appeared, it was split in half by the demonic saber. That frightening demonic figure also rapidly disappeared. Whoosh! Seeing this, the saintess of all beginnings paled, but she breathed a sigh of relief. On the other side, Lu Mingyu's body swayed and she almost fell over. The burden on her was too great. She felt the life force in her body draining away quickly. Moreover, there was a trace of surprise in her eyes. She didn't expect the saintess of all beginnings to block this shocking attack with her doppelganger. Bitch, no matter how powerful your saber technique is, my chaos secret recipe is beyond your imagination. The saintess of all beginnings sneered. She used her doppelganger to narrowly avoid the fatal attack. What made her even happier was that after she displayed the heaven-defying demonic saber, she suffered a backlash. Her strength would be greatly reduced. Therefore, she decided to kill her at this time. The next moment, the saintess of all beginnings flashed and charged toward Lu Mingyue with the king's domain. Lu Mingyu's pupils shrank sharply. She had indeed suffered a backlash from the heaven-defying demonic saber, and her body was extremely weak. Her combat strength was not as good as before. However, looking at the saintess of all beginnings, a trace of determination appeared in her eyes. The next moment, she raised her jade-like arm again, and black runes flashed in her eyes again. Heaven-defying demonic saber. Facing the terrifying saintess of all beginnings, Lu Mingyue displayed the heaven-defying demonic saber again. Ah! Seeing the demonic saber appear again, the saintess of all beginnings screamed, and the complacency on her face disappeared. It was replaced by a touch of horror. She quickly retreated, not daring to approach Lu Mingyue at all. The saber slashed down, and the world collapsed. This time, the saintess of all beginnings had no choice but to use another doppelganger to block this shocking saber. Although her life was not in danger, her strength was much weaker than before. Because these doppelganger were killed, it also had a big impact on her. Damn bitch, you actually destroyed 2 of my doppelganger. Today, I must catch you and let you know what it's like to live a life worse than death. The saintess of all beginnings gnashed her teeth in anger, and she once again attacked Lu Mingyue. Lu Mingyue's face became even paler. Using 2 consecutive heaven-defying demonic sabers consumed a lot of her strength. Moreover, more than half of her vitality had been lost. Now, she was no different from being seriously injured. However, a strange light flashed in her eyes. The next moment, Lu Mingyue raised her arm again without hesitation and displayed the heaven-defying demonic saber. It was not that she was not afraid of death, but she still had a trump card in her hand. Lin Xian had 3 drops of 10,000 years spiritual liquid, which he had given to her and the dark red dragon before the battle. In other words, each of them had a drop of 10,000 years spiritual liquid. This was a good thing. As long as one was not dead and still had a breath of life, one could immediately recover after taking it. This was also the reason why Lu Mingyue dared to use the heaven-defying demonic saber. The saintess of all beginnings did not know that when she saw Lu Mingyue use the heaven-defying demonic saber for the 3rd time, her whole face turned green. She really did not understand where Lu Mingyue got the courage to use this kind of thing. He still knew about this kind of demonic saber. Even a saintess could only use it 2 or 3 times at most. She might not be able to stand it if she used it more. Perhaps she would be swallowed by the demonic saber before killing the enemy. Even if she used it once, the side effects were very serious. She might not be able to recover at all without a year and a half. She did not expect Lu Mingyue to be so crazy as to use the heaven-defying demonic saber 3 times in a row. Was she not afraid of death? This time, the saintess of all beginnings had consumed her last doppelganger in order to save her life. Then her whole face became gloomy. Her secret technique of all beginnings was broken, and her 3 doppelganger were completely killed, causing her power to decrease. She even suffered a certain backlash. This was a magical power that she had cultivated for a long time, but now it was completely broken. It would take a long time for her to recover. For geniuses like them, time was life. If they were a step late, they might fall behind others for a lifetime. Chapter 1895. However, when she saw Lu Mingyue's condition, she still smiled. Lu Mingyue's condition was worse than hers. Her face was extremely pale, and her body was shaking as if she would fall down with a gust of wind. Ha ha ha. The saintess of all beginnings sneered. You bitch, you actually destroyed 3 of my doppelgangers. This time, I must teach you a lesson. The saintess of all beginnings was like a demon, stepping on lotuses and walking forward step by step. With every step, her murderous aura became stronger. She was not in a hurry to attack, because she knew that Lu Mingyue could not escape. She was afraid that Lu Mingyue did not have much vitality left in her body. Aren't you very powerful? You're using the devil blade. Let's see if you can kill me. Or will you be swallowed by the blade first? The saintess of all beginnings was not worried at all, because she knew that Lu Mingyue could not use the devil blade anymore. Bitch, you dare to destroy my divine sense. I will first create 1,800 knife marks on your face and turn you into an ugly monster. Then I will strip you naked and throw you into a group of monsters. I will let you taste the feeling of living a life worse than death. The others were relieved and even cheered. They knew that Lu Mingyue could not launch another attack in her current state. However, the dark red divine dragon and Lin Xian were very calm. They went all out to deal with the powerful figure, and were not distracted at all. They knew that Lu Mingyue would not be defeated like this. Sure enough, Lu Mingyue looked at the saintess of all beginnings in front of her, and showed a sad but beautiful smile. Do you think you've won? What a joke, of course I won. The saintess of all beginnings sneered. What? Do you think you can turn the tables in your current state? I advise you to stop dreaming. Although you made me suffer some injuries, your injuries are more serious. Don't tell me you think you can still use the heaven-defying devil blade in your current state. I'm afraid that if you just use your chi, your vitality will be swallowed by the blade. Of course, this is a good way to commit suicide, but I won't let you do it. However, Lu Mingyue laughed. Zheng Xiu, you are very arrogant. This is your fatal flaw. So what? I'm the saintess of all beginnings. I can't be defeated. Not to mention being killed. I'm destined to be the future master of the saintess of all beginnings. As for you, no one will remember you. Be *th, it's all over now. The saintess of all beginnings raised her arm, and streaks of fierce chaotic light appeared in her palm. You are indeed too arrogant. Someone like you doesn't deserve to be a saintess, Lu Mingyue said coldly. In the next moment, she flipped her palm and took out a jade bottle. Then, she flicked out a drop of 10,000-year spirit liquid and quickly swallowed it. Wang. Her speed was very fast, so she didn't receive any obstructions. Moreover, the saintess of all beginnings didn't expect Lu Mingyue to have any chance to turn the tables. In the view of the saintess of all beginnings, it was impossible for him to recover in a short period of time, since he had suffered such a serious injury and lost so much of his vitality. Therefore, she did not stop him. However, she soon regretted it. This was because the paleness on Lu Mingyue's face was gradually disappearing and was replaced by a normal flush. Not only that, but her vitality was also rapidly recovering, and the majestic energy in her body surged out once again. What? How is this possible? The saintess of all beginnings' pupils shrank in shock. She couldn't believe it. What kind of treasure did Lu Mingyue take to have such a heaven-defying effect? She was too shocked. As far as she knew, such a treasure did exist, but it was very difficult to get it. There weren't even any powerful figures, let alone Lu Mingyue in front of her. However, Lu Mingyue really had such a heaven-defying treasure in her hands that could instantly restore her vitality. Therefore, the saintess of all beginnings was stunned. In the next moment she turned around, turned into a ray of light, and fled into the distance. Now, she didn't dare to fight with Lu Mingyue again, because she didn't have any magical power that could resist the devil blade. Want to run? Lu Mingyue sneered. She had now recovered her vitality, and could fully display the devil blade again. Therefore, she had to kill Lu Mingyue. In a flash, Lu Mingyue quickly chased after Lu Mingyue. What? She actually replied. How could she recover? The surrounding disciples who were fighting against the true formation felt their scalps go numb when they saw this scene. They didn't expect this. There was such a reversal in the situation. They were all top female cultivators, but they were being chased. The two powerful figures were also very surprised and even dumbfounded. Damn it! What on earth did that woman have in her hands? What on earth did she swallow? How could she recover completely in an instant? The two powerful figures' faces were also very gloomy. Boy, you are indeed beyond my expectations. But do you think you can succeed like this? You are too naive. The saintess is not so easy to kill. The powerful figure in blue looked at Lin Xian and snorted coldly. He didn't save the saintess of all beginnings, but stared at Lin Xian. He was really angry. He must kill Lu Mingyue to relieve the hatred in his heart. Feeling the killing intent of the powerful figure, Lin Xian didn't care. He was now strong enough to compete with the powerful figure. At least the other party couldn't kill him. He sneered and said, "Isn't it just a protector? We also have a way to deal with it." What? This time, the powerful figure in blue was really stunned. The other party knew the existence of the protector and had such a calm expression. Could it be that the other party really had some tricks that he hadn't used yet? Thinking of this, the powerful figure in blue was not confident. He found that everything this time was beyond his expectations. He hadn't felt this kind of feeling of being out of control for hundreds of years. No, I have to make a move. The powerful figure in blue was uneasy and decided to make a move. The next moment, his figure shook and he wanted to soar into the sky. But Lin Xian turned into a sword light and blocked his way. I told you your opponent is me. Moreover, let the women solve the problems between them. Lin Xian crossed the sky with his sword and blocked the way like a sword immortal. You are courting death. Boy, get out of my way. The powerful figure in blue was angry and quickly blasted out his palms. Lin Xian slashed out sword chi and didn't resist at all. He was like a ghost, constantly dodging, but he always interfered with the powerful figure in blue, so that he couldn't completely leave. On the other side, the powerful figure in red was also blocked by the great magic of the dark red divine dragon. For a while, the two powerful figures couldn't be separated at all. In the sky, the saintess of all beginnings was being chased to the point where she had nowhere to go. Her hair was disheveled, and she looked extremely flustered. She never thought that she would be hunted down one day. Chapter 1896. Damn bitch, just you wait. The next time I see you, I will kill you. Lu Mingyue snorted. Next time? You have no chance. This is your end. Finally, she seized an opportunity and slashed with the demonic saber again. The terrifying saber light flashed and completely enveloped the saintess of all beginnings. Feeling this terrifying aura, the saintess of all beginnings turned pale. She gritted her teeth and madly launched all her attacks. But under the heaven-defying demonic saber, nothing worked. At this moment, the saintess of all beginnings felt desperate. No, I'm the saintess. I won't be defeated. The saintess of all beginnings screamed and threw out another chaotic light ball, which suddenly exploded. The terrifying energy directly blew up a big black hole in the void, but it still couldn't affect the heaven-defying demonic saber. This heaven-defying demonic saber was created at the cost of one's life, which could be said to be extremely terrifying. Unless the saintess of all beginnings had such a powerful magic that burned her life, she could resist it. But unfortunately, she hadn't cultivated this magic. No. Seeing that the saintess of all beginnings was about to be killed, everyone screamed. But the next moment, a vague figure appeared beside the saintess of all beginnings, and then waved his sleeve. Suddenly, the terrifying heaven-defying demonic saber was shattered. The terrifying energy soared into the sky, and the whole sky was completely covered by a black demonic shadow, which turned into endless darkness and rolled away. But this saber was finally broken. The huge demonic shadow between heaven and earth was shattered, and the terrifying saber light tore in all directions. But a vacuum area was formed in front of the saintess of all beginnings. All the saber light bypassed there. At this moment, all the warriors inside and outside the city were stunned. They looked at the scene in the sky in shock. Lu Mingyue also stared at the figure in front of her and said coldly, "Protector." Yes, it's a protector. At the last moment of life and death, the protector of the saintess of all beginnings finally made a move. He shattered the demonic saber and saved the saintess of all beginnings. The saintess of all beginnings' face was extremely pale, and her expression was extremely ugly. Although her life wasn't in danger, the fact that the protector made a move undoubtedly proved that she had failed, because the protector would only make a move at the moment of life and death. In other words, she had lost this battle. Moreover, she had lost completely. If it weren't for her protector, she might have been killed. She couldn't believe it. After all, she was the saintess. Furthermore, his strength had increased tremendously, and he had many secret techniques at his disposal. But even so, he couldn't beat someone who had been abandoned by the Holy Land. The surrounding people were also extremely shocked. Those martial artists all worshipped the saintess of 10,000 emergence as a god. But now, the faith in their hearts had been defeated. Furthermore, it had been defeated so thoroughly, they couldn't accept it at all. The blue-robed mighty figure battling Lin Xian, and the red-robed mighty figure in the distance, also had ugly expressions. Originally, they thought that this battle would be very easy, and that they would be able to easily crush the other party. But he didn't expect things to turn out this way. Not only were the two of them restrained, but even the saintess of all beginnings was defeated. In the end, the protector was forced to intervene. To them this was simply a humiliation. The saintess of all beginnings stared at Lu Mingyue coldly. Damn bitch, just you wait. Next time, I'll kill you with my own hands. Next time? You won't have a chance. This time, I will definitely kill you. Lu Mingyue pointed her long saber forward. You want to kill me? How ridiculous. I have a protector. Even a mighty figure can't kill me. I admit that I was careless this time and lost to you. But don't be arrogant. I can only say that you're dreaming if you want to kill me. Really? At this moment Lin Xian also sneered. You think too highly of yourself. Do you really think that having a protector can protect your safety? Today I'm going against heaven's will and kill you. Lin Xian was extremely strong at this moment. I won't attack you, but if you act recklessly and insist on attacking the saintess, then don't blame me for being rude. The protector shouted in a deep voice. Indeed, his duty was to protect the saintess, and not to take the initiative to attack others. But if the other party attacked recklessly after he came out, then he could only attack and destroy all the enemies. The surrounding martial artists from the Holy Land also sneered disdainfully. Indeed, although it was hard for them to accept the saintess' defeat, it was impossible for them to kill the saintess. With a protector around, no one could kill the saintess. No one can kill her? I can only say that you're too ignorant. Lin Xian sneered, and then looked at the dark red divine dragon. You can attack now. Alright, I can't wait any longer. The dark red divine dragon roared and swung its dragon tail, colliding with the mighty figure in red. Then both of them retreated 1,000 meters. The dark red divine dragon came to Lin Xian's side. The mighty figure in red looked extremely gloomy. After fighting for so long, he still couldn't take down the other party. This made him feel ashamed. But soon his expression changed again. This was because he felt a strange force enveloping him. His companion, the mighty figure in blue, was also extremely shocked. Even the protector in the distance frowned. Damn it, this is the power of space. He wants to teleport us away. The mighty figure in blue roared with a look of shock. Now he finally knew why the other party was so calm when he learned of the protector's existence. It turned out that the other party was already prepared. Such an array would teleport them far away. They probably wouldn't be able to fly back in a short time. Therefore, if they were really teleported away, the saintess of all beginnings would definitely be finished. Damn it, open for me. The mighty figure in blue roared and waved his fists. Terrifying energy pierced through the sky, trying to break the power of space. On the other side, the mighty figure in red also struck out rows of terrifying palm shadows, trying to break through. However, they still underestimated this array. This array was specially designed to deal with mighty figures. Therefore, no matter how angry the two mighty figures were at this moment, it was of no use. Soon their bodies became blurry. Whoosh! They were teleported away. What? They disappeared. Seeing this scene, the surrounding warriors' scalps went numb. They couldn't sense the aura of the mighty figures at all. No, damn it! How could this be? They teleported the mighty figures away. Those warriors were finally scared. Although there was a terrifying array around them before, they could barely hold on. And they had hope in their hearts because with the mighty figures, they could definitely live in peace. But now, they had no guarantee in their hearts. Because the mighty figures had been teleported away, and they didn't know where they were teleported to. But they knew that they wouldn't be able to come back in a short time. Chapter 1897. We haven't lost yet. We still have a protector. At this moment, an old man roared angrily. Yes, we still have hope. At this moment, all the cultivators of the Holy Land looked at the protector. Even the saintess of all beginnings was nervous. She didn't expect the other party to have hidden such a powerful formation that could teleport two powerhouses away. Now the protector was her only hope. The protector's expression was even colder. This scene was also beyond his expectations. But in the next moment, a sharp light burst out from his eyes. Boy, I wouldn't have gotten involved in such a thing, but you've gone too far. Do you really think there's no one in the Holy Land of all beginnings? At this moment, the protector exuded a terrifying aura. The energy fluctuation was even more terrifying than the previous two powerhouses. Seeing this, the saintess of all beginnings finally smiled. She knew the protector was angry. Originally, the protector's mission was to protect her safety. But now, the other party had taken away two powerhouses, directly threatening the safety of her and nearly 100 cultivators of the Holy Land. The protector couldn't ignore such a situation. Humph! So what if you're a protector? You better leave obediently as well. Lin Xian snorted coldly and activated the formation again. Suddenly, a terrifying spatial power rushed toward the protector. The protector roared, and the aura in his body erupted, sweeping around like a wave. A king's domain appeared and enveloped him, resisting the spatial power around him. Damn it, this protector is a bit powerful. He's not an ordinary powerhouse. The dark red dragon frowned. He was very confident in his formation. Previously, teleporting the two powerhouses in red only took an instant. But now, the other party was able to resist the spatial power. This was indeed beyond his expectations. What should we do? Lu Mingyue also showed a trace of anxiety. Originally, everything was going according to plan, but they didn't expect the protector's strength to exceed their expectations. The surrounding cultivators of the Holy Land cheered when they saw that the protector wasn't teleported away. The Saintess of All Beginnings sneered. Boy bitch, let's see how you deal with it this time. She was too happy. Originally, they were bound to lose, but because of the protector's help, they had completely reversed the situation. It was conceivable that the other party would not be able to resist at all. The Saintess of All Beginnings swore that she would catch Lu Mingyue and the other two and torture them to death. On the other side, Lin Xian's expression was solemn as he looked at the protector in the sky. A hint of determination appeared in his eyes. In the next moment, golden runes appeared in his eyes. They were like Dao runes and were extremely mysterious. Heavenly secret god eyes. At the most crucial moment, Lin Xian revealed his most powerful trump card. Suddenly, a terrifying illusion swept towards the protector. Wang, the Dao protector, didn't even have time to defend himself before he saw a golden eye. In the next moment, his soul trembled as he fell into an illusion. However, he was not an ordinary mighty figure. He was very powerful. Therefore, his soul power was relatively strong. Under normal circumstances, Lin Xian's soul power couldn't compare to his. Even if he was hit by an illusion, he would be able to quickly dispel it. However, Lin Xian didn't plan on using illusions to deal with the Dao protector. All he wanted to do was make the Dao protector lose focus for a moment. Just a moment. Sure enough, the Dao protector was hit by an illusion. The energy in his body seemed to stop circulating for a moment. In the next moment, a terrifying spatial power wrapped around him. Ka. The void split open and teleported the Dao protector. Everyone went crazy when they saw this scene. They didn't expect that even the powerful Dao protector would be teleported away. The Saintess of All Beginnings' face turned pale, and her eyes lost their luster. The Dao protector was her last support, but now he was gone. With her strength, she couldn't compete with Lin Xian and the other two. In the sky, the Dao protector's body was shrouded in darkness. In the end, he let out an angry roar. Damn it! How dare you hurt the people of the Holy Land of All Beginnings? I will never let you go. In the end, the Dao protector completely disappeared in the sky. He was teleported away. The sky was dead silent. All the cultivators of the Holy Land were stunned. Without the Dao protector, they couldn't predict what would happen next. The Saintess of All Beginnings felt the gaze of Lin Xian and the other two and trembled. Her face was incomparably pale, but she still clenched her teeth and said, You can't kill me. I am the Saintess of All Beginnings. If you kill me, the Holy Land of All Beginnings will never let you go. How about this? Let's forget about today's matter. If you let me go, I will never find trouble with you in the future. How about we both take a step back? Take a step back. Lin Xian sneered. Why should we take a step back? This situation is very advantageous to us. Hearing this, the Saintess of All Beginnings' face darkened. A cold glint appeared in her eyes. However, she still clenched her teeth and said, Do you really want to be hunted down by the Holy Land of All Beginnings forever? Think about it carefully. Today's matter was only because you wanted to vent the resentment in your hearts. You've already seriously injured me, teleported away 3 Almighties, and killed many of my disciples. You can say that you've already vented your anger. Moreover, not only have you vented your anger, but you've also become famous in the Eastern Wasteland. This way, you'll get what you want. Why not? Why infuriate the entire Holy Land of All Beginnings just to kill me? Why suffer endless pursuit? You're all smart people. You should be able to think clearly about which is more worthwhile, said the saintess of all beginnings. I didn't expect you to be so eloquent. Unfortunately, your words can't move me. Lin Xian sneered. We don't want to oppose the holy land of all beginnings, nor do we want to kill the saintess of all beginnings. We want to kill you. Moreover, you're too naive. Even if you die, it doesn't mean that the saintess of all beginnings is no more. We're only helping the holy land of all beginnings choose the right saintess. I believe that not only will the holy land of all beginnings not kill me, but it will also be grateful to me. After saying this, Lin Xian's eyes shone with resplendent light. Lu Mingyue and the dark red dragon also emitted powerful auras. No, you can't do this. The saintess of all beginnings was truly afraid. She now understood that these people wanted to help Lu Mingyue regain the position of saintess of all beginnings. Guardian, you've returned. That's great. At this moment, the saintess of all beginnings looked behind Lin Xian with a joyful expression. Hearing this, the brows of Lin Xian and the others twitched. In the next moment, the three of them looked back. In the end, they discovered that there was no one behind them. The saintess of all beginnings took advantage of this opportunity to erupt with resplendent light. She turned into a shooting star and fled into the distance. Chapter 1898. Now they could only escape and leave this place. They would make plans after returning to the Holy Land. You want to leave? Lin Xian sneered. A sword light slashed out, filling the sky with sword energy. It formed a huge cage that sealed the surroundings. Then, Lin Xian said to Lu Mingyue, I'll leave her to you, Ruffian Long, and I will deal with the remaining people. Lu Mingyue nodded her head heavily. Then, she held her long saber in her hand and flew forward in a lotus step. Lin Xian and the dark red dragon erupted with powerful auras, preparing to attack the Holy Land cultivators. In front of them, the all-beginning saintess screamed and resisted like crazy. But she was seriously injured and wasn't Lu Mingyue's match. Before long, blood dyed the sky red. She was killed. Saintess! The saint-level martial artists in the distance all roared in anger when they saw this scene. They never imagined that the dignified all-beginning saintess would be killed by someone. But soon, they didn't have time to be sad because they found a terrifying attack. Boom! Boom! Terrifying energy filled the sky. Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon were both powerful figures at the saint-child level. The two of them joined forces and coordinated with the array that filled the sky. Soon they killed all the Holy Land cultivators. Blood dyed the ground red, and the pungent smell of blood filled the air. The entire northern Liang city was covered in blood and corpses. This scene was like an Azura hell. The dark red dragon was responsible for taking everyone's storage rings, including the all-beginning saintess. Lu Mingyue's clothes were also stained with blood, but she didn't care. Lin Xian, thank you very much. After I become the saintess, I will definitely repay you. Lu Mingyue's eyes shone. This was a turning point in her life. Only by killing Zheng Xiu would she be able to return to the all-beginning Holy Land and become the new saintess. Lin Xian nodded. Lu Mingyue's current attitude was pretty good. After she became the saintess, he would definitely obtain great benefits. This way, it wouldn't be a waste of effort to kill the all-beginning saintess. Let's go. I'm afraid the entire eastern desolate region will be shaken. We have to deal with the pursuit. Lin Xian looked around and said coldly. Then he, Lu Mingyue, and the dark red dragon soared into the sky and disappeared. The people outside the city had been waiting anxiously. They were unable to fully investigate the situation in the city, but they soon smelled the scent of blood. What's going on? Why is the smell of blood so strong? Quite a few people's brows were tightly furrowed. However, there were even some whose faces were pale. They pointed forward, their bodies trembling. Look, blood, there's blood flowing out. In the next moment, the surrounding warriors all looked forward. On the ground, streams of blood flowed like a sea of blood, rapidly spreading in all directions. This was no ordinary blood. There was a strange luster flowing within it. It was clear that this was the blood of a king, and it contained a powerful energy. This was definitely not a scene that could be caused by the death of one or two kings. At least a few dozen kings had died. Heavens, what kind of battle is going on inside? This is too intense. Everyone felt their scalps go numb. However, at this moment, someone exclaimed again. Look, the light is dimming. I think the formation is about to dissipate. Wait a little longer. Everyone waited patiently. When all the light dimmed, they soared into the sky and flew toward the city. In the next moment, when they arrived in the city and saw the scene around them, they were all stunned. Everyone's eyes were filled with alarm because there was blood everywhere. There was not a single living person. What? How is this possible? The people of the All Beginnings Holy Land were all killed. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air, because they discovered that the clothes of the corpses on the ground belonged to the All Beginnings Holy Land. This meant that these people were all warriors of the All Beginnings Holy Land. Apart from that, there were no other corpses. Who is it? How could their methods be so terrifying? They killed all the people of the All Beginnings Holy Land. Heavens, what is that? Suddenly, someone screamed, startling everyone in the surroundings. However, that person didn't seem to sense anything. Instead, he pointed forward, his voice trembling. The Saintess of All Beginnings was also killed. What? The Saintess of All Beginnings was also killed? That's impossible. The others were shocked and didn't dare to believe it. In the next moment, they turned their heads and looked forward. They discovered that the corpse belonged to the Saintess of All Beginnings. It's over. The entire Eastern Wasteland will probably undergo a great change. Everyone's hearts trembled. The Saintess of All Beginnings being killed was definitely a shocking event. The All Beginnings Holy Land would definitely go crazy. Who was it that had such heaven-defying methods? Even the Saintess of All Beginnings was killed. That's impossible. The Saintess of All Beginnings had two powerhouses by her side. How could she be killed? Someone asked. Immediately, everyone looked around, but they didn't find the two powerhouses' corpses. The two powerhouses didn't die. Perhaps they went to chase after the murderer. No, that shouldn't be the case. At this moment, a Gu family disciple said, as far as I know, the Saintess of All Beginnings had two powerhouses by her side as well as a guardian. That's still a powerhouse, and an extremely powerful one at that. With him, ordinary powerhouses wouldn't be able to kill the Saintess of All Beginnings. Who was it that could avoid the guardian and kill the Saintess of All Beginnings? Shocked voices sounded. Clearly, the Saintess of All Beginnings' death had caused a great commotion. They knew that the entire Eastern Wilderness would probably go crazy. Sure enough, when the news of Northern Liang City spread, the entire northern region was in an uproar. At this moment, whether it was the Gu family, the Four Symbols Holy Lands, the Liang family, or the other top forces, they were all shocked. The Saintess of All Beginnings was one of the top existences of the younger generation. Moreover, she had come with great momentum this time. She had brought 100 Holy Land experts, 2 powerhouses, and a guardian to secretly protect her. It could be said that she was extremely powerful. Even if the other party was the holy son of another holy land, he might not be able to kill the Saintess of All Beginnings. But now, the Saintess of All Beginnings had been killed. What was even stranger was that there were no other corpses at the scene besides the corpses of the All Beginnings Holy Land's martial artists. This was even more shocking. What kind of existence had made a move? Soon, the news spread from the northern region to the entire eastern wilderness. The forces along the way were all shocked, and didn't dare to believe it. In the end, the entire eastern wilderness was shaken. After the All Beginnings Holy Land received the news, they were even more furious. This time, the All Beginnings Holy Land was truly furious. The matter of the Saintess of All Beginnings Dudu had already made them lose face. Therefore, they didn't stop the Saintess of All Beginnings from bringing experts to the northern region. They also wanted the Saintess to intimidate the enemy. Chapter 1899. Their holy daughter had brought 100 experts, 2 almighties, and a guardian with her. But in the end, she had still been killed. Apart from the 3 almighties, the 100 experts of the Holy Land had all been killed. Not a single person had managed to escape. The All Beginnings Holy Land had truly lost face. The death of their holy daughter was definitely a major event today. Even the holy master of all beginnings had come out of seclusion to oversee the all beginnings holy land. Orders were issued one after another. The entire all beginnings holy land was incomparably furious. They quickly moved and arrived in the northern region. They wanted to find the culprit. This time, the all beginnings holy land had only dispatched their elites. Even the weakest among them was a 6-star king. Among them, there were quite a few almighties and elders. They all moved out. For a time, the entire world was in an uproar. Everyone's attention was focused on the northern region. The entire northern region was in a state of turmoil. Everyone was in danger. For a time, everyone fell silent. Many cultivators returned to their respective factions, not daring to come out again. This was because the experts of the All Beginnings Holy Land were constantly patrolling the area. They would immediately arrest anyone they found suspicious. From the looks of it, these people would not be willing to let the matter rest unless the culprit was found. On the other side, Lin Xian, Lu Mingyue, and the dark red divine dragon had arrived in the mountains. They found a safe place and entered seclusion to recover. This time, the three of them had all been injured. Lu Mingyue's injuries were the most serious. She had consumed more than half of her life force. Although she had the 10,000-year spiritual liquid, she still needed to fully recover. Otherwise, it would be terrible if there were any side effects. Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon had also been seriously injured in the battle against the Almighties. They had consumed the 10,000-year spiritual liquid once. Thus, after consuming the 10,000-year spiritual liquid, their injuries had more or less healed. But now, they had all entered seclusion to adjust their bodies to their peak condition. After all, there were still many things that they needed to do. 3 days later, Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon opened their eyes. As for Lu Mingyue, she was still in seclusion. After all, the life force she had consumed was not something that could be recovered so easily. Moreover, the side effects of the heaven-defying demon blade were extremely frightening. Thus, Lin Xian had Lu Mingyue enter seclusion without disturbing her. He and the dark red divine dragon took out the storage rings on the ground. 2 of these storage rings belonged to the Saint of All Beginnings, and the others belonged to the martial artists from the Holy Land. At this moment, they probed it with their souls and found that there were many things inside. It was enough to make up for the materials they had used to inscribe the formation, especially the 2 storage rings of the Saintess of All Beginnings, which were full of treasures. There were even some places where Lin Xian felt extremely hot. It seemed that this was a really bountiful harvest. It was a sure win. It was indeed a great harvest. This time, they had only expended some energy and suffered some injuries. He consumed 3 drops of 10,000 years spiritual liquid. However, the consequences of taking too much were indeed very shocking. In addition to these, the natural treasures they had consumed could almost be made up for. Moreover, when Lu Mingyue truly became the new saintess, they would obtain even more things. There's actually the All Beginnings secret technique here. Lin Xian found some good things in the Saintess of All Beginnings storage ring. The All Beginnings Saintess had a very high status in the All Beginnings Holy Ground. She was equivalent to the future master of the All Beginnings Holy Ground. Thus, she had some of the All Beginnings Holy Land's secret techniques in her hands. One of them was the Primal Chaos Avatar. This Primal Chaos Avatar was incomparably terrifying. It was even more frightening than the 6 Sword God avatars condensed from Lin Xian's 6 God Sword art. Moreover, these avatars could pass off as real and had powerful combat strength. Thus, Lin Xian was very tempted by this cultivation technique. He didn't hesitate and entered a secret room inside the Black Earth, beginning to comprehend the Primal Chaos Avatar. It just so happened that it was dangerous outside. The experts of the All Beginnings Holy Land were everywhere, searching for him. Thus Lin Xian simply stayed here and cultivated the Primal Chaos Avatar. This Primal Chaos Avatar was somewhat similar to his 6 God Sword art. It could even be considered an advanced version of the 6 God Sword art. Thus, Lin Xian was very good at cultivating it. Soon, he condensed a clone of himself. After testing it, he found that its power was actually at the level of a candidate saint. Lin Xian was overjoyed. The advantage of this avatar compared to the six-god sword art was that it could leave Lin Xian's side for a long time until it was killed. After Lin Xian condensed the two avatars, he prepared to carry out the next step. The All Beginnings Holy Land was infuriated by the death of their saintess. But even though they were angry, they still had to promote a new saintess. Lu Mingyue had a chance, but the other geniuses of the All Beginnings Holy Land also had a chance. Moreover, Lu Mingyue was at a disadvantage. Her previous reputation was bad. This was also the reason why she had been replaced by Zheng Xiao. If this reputation wasn't removed, Lu Mingyue might not have a chance to become the new saintess. Thus, Lin Xian's second step was to clear Lu Mingyue's name. Of course, if he said it himself, no one would believe him. However, when he was in the Oblique Moon mystic world, the disciples of the various top powers of the Eastern Wasteland had gone there. If the disciples of those powers had issued a statement together, saying that Lu Mingyue had been captured and treated as a maid, it would have been purely a false accusation. This was something that had never happened before. This way, Lu Mingyue's bad reputation would have been removed. Of course, the disciples of those major powers wouldn't have issued such a statement obediently. Thus, Lin Xian planned to use force to resolve this. He would start with the northern region. The Four Symbols Holy Lands and the Gu family had both participated in the Oblique Moon mystic world. The Gu family was easy to deal with. Lin Xian had a very good relationship with Gu Santong, so it wouldn't be a problem for Gu Santong to issue a statement. As for the Four Symbols Holy Lands, they would have to be dealt with through force. Lin Xian didn't like trouble. His methods were simple and crude. He would directly attack and beat the other party until they admitted defeat. This time, he was going to deal with the Four Symbols Holy Lands. He didn't need to do it personally. Thus, he sent out a clone while his true body cultivated in the Black Earth, preparing to condense more clones. Whoosh! Lin Xian's clone got off the Black Earth and soared into the sky. He first inquired about the Four Symbols Holy Lands and asked who had gone to the Oblique Moon mystic world. Then, he prepared to make his move. Withered City. There were a few young prodigies of the Four Symbols Holy Lands there. They had all participated in the Oblique Moon mystic world. Lin Xian's clone was very fast and arrived at Withered City in a short while. In the city, there was a palace that looked magnificent. This was the target of Lin Xian's clone. Thus, he rushed down like a shooting star. Whoosh! Like lightning, Lin Xian's clone streaked across the sky and arrived above the palace. In the palace below, in a large hall, a few young people were enjoying the song and dance while hugging beauties. Chapter 1900. Senior Brother Wan, let me give you a toast. I wish you a speedy exit from seclusion and a great increase in strength. A young disciple raised his wine cup. The red-haired youth with the surname Wan smiled. Well said, well said. I was really lucky this time to have a breakthrough. Senior Brother Wan, your current strength is already at the level of a successor candidate, right? Another youth asked with a smile. That's right. The breakthrough this time has indeed allowed me to reach the level of a successor candidate. Wan Lishan's lips curled into a smile. It was obvious that reaching the level of a successor candidate had made him very excited. He continued, this time, it's all thanks to the treasures from the Oblique Moon world. Without them, I probably wouldn't have been able to break through within 10 years. That's right. Although this Oblique Moon mysterious world is extremely dangerous, there are simply too many treasures inside. Any one of them is worth a few years, or even a dozen years of hard work. That's natural. It's just that the Oblique Moon world won't open again for the next 100 years. It's a pity. Boom! At this moment above the palace, Lin Xian's clone flicked his finger. A ray of sword chi flashed and flew into the palace below. Boom! Wan Lishan and the others were talking, and even wanted to fight for the position of a successor candidate. However, at this moment, a ray of sword light broke through the top of the palace and pierced towards them. Boom! Wan Lishan's face darkened when he saw this. He raised his hand and released a terrifying energy that shattered the ray of sword light. Who is it? How dare you sneak attack us? Wan Lishan shouted coldly. Then his figure rose from the ground. Soon, the palace below flashed with light. Then a figure rushed into the sky with a powerful aura. He was like a demon god rushing into the sky. In an instant he was near Lin Xian's clone. Who are you? How dare you sneak attack us? Don't you know that this is the territory of the Four Symbols Sanctuary? Behind Wan Lishan, two more figures rushed into the sky. They were also martial artists from the Four Symbols Sanctuary. Kid, sneak attack us? You've got guts. Quickly cripple your arms and kneel down to beg for mercy. Otherwise, you'll suffer a fate worse than death. The few of them shouted coldly. In front of them, Lin Xian's clone narrowed his eyes. Soon, he fixed his eyes on Wan Lishan. This was because he could sense that the other party's strength was the strongest, reaching the level of a saint candidate. Only someone like that would believe the announcement made by someone like that. Therefore, at the next moment, he looked at Wan Lishan and sneered. Come out and fight me if you have the guts. With that said, Lin Xian's clone flashed and flew off into the distance. You're courting death. The Four Symbols Sacred Ground disciple was enraged when he saw this. The other party actually dared to provoke them. He was truly courting death. Senior brother Wan, let me go. I can definitely cripple him easily. However, Wan Lishan shook his head. No need. You two can leave. Oh, go take a look. It just so happens that I just came out of seclusion. Let me stretch my muscles a little. All right, then be careful, senior brother Wan, said the two disciples. To be honest, they were not worried. After all, Wan Lishan now had the combat strength of a Holy Sun candidate. He was definitely incomparably powerful. Ordinary people would not be able to do anything. Even if there was a trap, senior brother, Wan would still be able to escape easily. In the next moment, Wan Lishan sneered. Then his figure flashed and he chased after them. After leaving the city, Lin Xian's clone found a deserted mountain range and stopped. He was like a sword immortal, floating in the void. Behind him, Wan Lishan followed closely. He was extremely arrogant, and was not afraid of any traps. When he saw the figure in front of him stop, he also stopped in his tracks. Then, he used his soul to check the surroundings, but did not discover any danger. Kid, ask your people to come out. I want to see who dares to harm me. Wan Lishan snorted coldly. However, Lin Xian's clone shook his head coldly. There's no one else. It's just me. Just you? Wan Lishan was stunned. He originally thought that the other party would lure him out with a trap. However, he did not expect the other party to be alone. This was really beyond his expectations. You want to fight me by yourself? You're really courting death. Enough. Lin Xian's voice was cold. He was Lin Xian's clone, and his strength had reached the level of a Holy Sun candidate. Moreover, his body contained a sharp sword qi, which made his combat strength even more terrifying. Therefore, the clone did not waste any time, and immediately attacked. Boom! With a wave of his arm, a terrifying sword qi that contained a sharp killing aura slashed forward. Although it was only a clone, the sword was extremely terrifying. An ordinary king would not dare to resist it. Wan Lishan was stunned when he saw that the other party was able to unleash such a powerful sword qi. Then, a sinister smile appeared on his face. No wonder you dare to fight me. You're indeed quite powerful. Unfortunately, I've just made a breakthrough recently, and my strength has increased greatly. It's not something you can imagine. Therefore, your attack is useless against me. Boom! With that, Wan Lishan threw out a punch. The terrifying fist whistled, and formed an immemorial demonic elephant that was shining brightly. It tore through the void and charged forward. The force was extremely powerful. It was as though it could destroy everything in the world. Boom! 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 The terrifying sword qi collided with the immemorial demonic elephant. Then a large amount of energy exploded. The entire void rolled violently as if it was boiling. The surrounding mountains were instantly destroyed. Large patches of trees were swept up into the sky. Terrifying cracks appeared on the ground. In the sky, Lin Xian's clone and Wan Lishan were also flying backward. But soon Lin Xian's clone stopped retreating. He waved his hand, and took out a long sword that emitted a cold light. The long sword was not the Nine Darkness demonic sword, But it was also an Earth-grade treasure. Now that it was held by Lin Xian's clone, its power was even more terrifying. Buzz! With a swing of the sword chi scattered across the void like the Milky Way and slashed forward. The bright light was like the waves of the sea, but also like the Milky Way. It was huge and resplendent, carrying a sharp aura. It was as if it wanted to cut the entire world in half. Wan Lishan's pupil shrank. The power of the other party's sword chi had increased again. He could not believe it. However, he still gritted his teeth and roared. At the same time, 2 red gloves appeared on his fists. There were even red flames floating on them, carrying a terrifying and scorching aura. With a swing of the fist, terrifying flames spread out. The entire sky seemed to have turned into a world of fire. The terrifying heat caused the void to crack. There was even a flame demonic elephant that rose in the sky. Its huge body crushed the void. The red light on its body was like a divine flame. The flame demonic elephant rushed towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian's clone was still fearless. He held the long sword in his hand and swept in all directions. Sword chi rushed out. The terrifying sword chi tore through the sky and cut all the sea of fire apart. It even split the hell demonic elephant in half. At this moment, Lin Xian's clone was extremely powerful. The sword chi on his body soared into the sky. He looked like a sword god. He looked at Wan Lishan opposite him and said coldly, "Your strength is not bad, but that's all." Chapter 1901. Lin Xian's doppelganger looked indifferent and emotionless. Wan Lishan, on the other hand, was infuriated. How dare his opponent look down on him? Unforgivable. He had just come out of seclusion, and his strength had increased tremendously. He had reached the level of a candidate holy son, and that had filled him with confidence. However, he did not expect to receive a challenge, not long after he came out of seclusion. Moreover, his opponent looked down on him. "Brat, you have successfully angered me. I will let you know my true power." Wan Lishan's eyes were red, and there were even red flames dancing in his eyes. Whoosh! His eyes turned into a rainbow and pierced through the void. It was accompanied by countless flames, and looked extremely terrifying. In the next moment, a red and black armor appeared on his body, and wrapped around his burly body. Not only that, but flames were dancing on the armor as if it came from hell. It was cold and violent. His red hair fluttered in the air. At that moment, Wan Lishan was like a demon king, and he had a strong aura. "Kill!" Wan Lishan roared like a demon king from hell. Then, he stomped his feet, and his entire body turned into a bolt of lightning and rushed over. Around him, endless red flames danced and formed the shadow of a hell demon elephant. That was his king's domain. Humph! Lin Xian's doppelganger snorted and remained unmoved. Facing Wan Lishan, the sword light on his body became sharper and sharper. Then, a dragon's roar was heard from his body. A sword sealed the sky. Lin Xian's doppelganger held a long sword in his hand, and slashed forward quickly. The sword chi turned into 9 true dragons that circled around each other, and formed a sword diagram that fell forward. Boom! 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 The sword diagram flashed and fell from the sky. Wherever it passed, everything was destroyed. Nothing could stop it. The red flames that filled the sky, and the terrifying power, were shattered in an instant. In the sky, the huge hell demon elephant domain was on the verge of collapse, and its light dimmed. Impossible! How could he have such powerful sword chi? I don't believe it. Break! Wan Lishan felt the scene around him, and the terrifying aura. He went crazy. He waved his fists, and waves of earth-shattering power shot into the sky. However, the sword diagram was simply too terrifying. With his current strength, he was simply unable to shatter it. Not only that, but when the sword diagram fell, his whole body was in pain. Even the light on the armor dimmed in an instant. He felt a suppression coming from his soul. Boom! In the next moment, the sword diagram completely pressed down. An earth-shattering collision sound rang out. Endless light, flames, and sword chi spread out in all directions. At this moment, the entire sky was illuminated, as if countless suns were blooming together. When all the light disappeared, the surrounding mountains had been flattened, and a deep crater had appeared on the ground. Wan Lishan was in an abnormally sorry state. His hair was disheveled, and the armor on his body was broken, dripping with blood. At this moment, 9 dragon-shaped sword chi spiraled above him, forming a sword diagram that completely suppressed him. 9 sword lights descended, aiming at Wan Lishan's vital points. As long as he used a little bit of strength, he would be able to kill him. Wan Lishan roared madly, full of unwillingness. However, his eyes were filled with boundless fear. Who exactly was the other party? How could he have such powerful strength? How could he suppress him so easily? One should know that he was now a candidate saint. Even a candidate saint of the same level as him would not be able to defeat him so easily, unless a saint descended. Could it be that the other party is a saint? At this thought, Wan Lishan trembled all over. Who exactly are you? What do you want? Wan Lishan gritted his teeth and asked. Who I am is not important, but I do have something for you to do. With that, Lin Xian's clone told him about Lu Mingyue. You want me to commit perjury? Wan Lishan immediately understood. In the next moment, his pupils constricted, and he said coldly, Damn it, are you the one who kidnapped Lu Mingyue? Humph. Hearing Wan Lishan's words, Lin Xian's clone's eyes suddenly shone with a sharp light. In the sword diagram above, a true dragon sword chi turned into a sharp sword light and pierced Wan Lishan's body. Poof! Ah! Wan Lishan screamed as he was pierced by the sword. Although it did not pierce any vital parts, the pain was enough to make him want to die. After all, the sword chi was too sharp, and it was destroying the energy in his body. You just need to agree. As for other things, I advise you not to ask about them. Lin Xian's cold voice drifted out. Yes, I understand. Wan Lishan broke out in cold sweat. He did not dare to be presumptuous in front of Lin Xian. After all, they were in the wilderness. If he was killed, he would have died in vain. Even the 4 symbols' sacred grounds would not be able to avenge him. At least you know what's good for you. In the next moment, Lin Xian waved his hand, took out a jade slip, and threw it in front of Wan Lishan. Use your soul imprint to make a statement, but I advise you not to play any tricks. Wan Lishan had no choice but to do as Lin Xian's clone said. After he was done, he returned the jade slip to Lin Xian and said, All right, you can let me go now. Of course. Lin Xian's clone nodded. Then, he waved his sleeve, and the 9-dragon sword diagram above rapidly shrank. Soon after, it entered the 10,000 Force Mountain. What are you doing? Didn't you say you would let me go? Wan Lishan sensed the changes in the 9-dragon sword diagram, and his face turned green with fright. He was unable to resist such a terrifying thing, now that it had actually run into his body. If something were to happen, his little life would be over. Don't worry. This is just a method. As long as you are obedient during this period of time, I guarantee that there won't be any problems. Don't worry. In a few months, the energy of this 9-dragon sword diagram will disappear. At that time, you won't have any worries. If you don't want to, I can kill you right now. Humph! Wan Lishan gnashed his teeth, and his expression turned gloomy. However, he had already made up his mind. After returning to the sacred grounds, he would immediately seek the help of the elders to get rid of this 9-dragon sword diagram. Afterward, he would contact the All Beginnings Sacred Ground. If he passed this information to the All Beginnings Sacred Ground, the All Beginnings Sacred Ground would probably thank him. But right at this time Lin Xian said, Of course this 9-dragon sword diagram is unique. Of course, my sword diagram is a little special. If someone tries to crack it, it will immediately explode. The energy released by that explosion is not inferior to the explosion of an Earth-tier treasure. At that time, I reckon that you won't be able to withstand it. Therefore, I advise you not to try to touch this 9-dragon sword diagram. After saying that, Lin Xian ignored Wan Lishan. His figure flickered, and he left the place. Since the other party already knew about his plan, he would naturally think of a perfect method to control the other party. That 9-dragon sword diagram was indeed very dangerous. As long as someone touched it, it would definitely explode. Lin Xian wasn't joking about this. However, this 9-dragon sword diagram could only exist for a few months. But in a few months, Lu Mingyue would probably become the saintess of all beginnings. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.